It has all been coming down to this.
We gotta turn big dreams into action. We gotta mix action with the passion.
Oh my, what an incredible moment.
We gotta turn big dreams into action. We gotta mix action with the passion. Time short, no time for relaxing. Be the first and last out, make it happen. We gotta turn big dreams into action. We gotta mix action with the passion. Time short, no time for relaxing.
Without further ado, let's get rolling.
That's right, no more further ado. It's time to just get it done. It's F. Dot here in the building with Kenny and Ready Set. I'm excited to be here. North America BSC time. Kenny, how you been, bud?
I've been good. You know, I've been around the block in terms of regions lately. Got some good EMEA, got some SA, but there's nothing quite like home, and it's good to be back with my two main men that I've casted with this year.
That's very nice of you. Ready Set, are you nice too?
I would say so. I mean, we're, yes, bringing it home, the best region, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Let's get
I hate when you do that. I hate when you do that bit. There are so many good regions of Brawl Stars, but you know what? It's all good. Today we are jumping into North America. We've cut North America in half. We have East and West, and we'll start off with the good stuff. But right now, just a reminder. So we are doing the power match format, so picks and bans. 8 teams on the bracket. And of course, we're just bringing you the good stuff. We're starting in the semifinals, so we skip those quarters. And this is the real deal. This is professional play, so it's best of 5s. North America East is where we're starting. Tribe Gaming and Chazmac are your front runners. These guys have been going back and forth, back and forth. That said, remaining 7, Peaky Penguins, Untamable Beasts, all of these teams, Kenny, have really been making some noise.
Yeah, and I mean, a big pickup here for remaining 7 Premier, getting a great roster that used to be Motomamis. But to kick things off for the day, our top 2 leaders on this board. Crazy stuff that Tribe Gaming and Chazmac Gaming NA are going to match up as our very first one of the day. I can't wait. This is going to be a huge month, obviously. Nothing set in stone in terms of the world spot or the LCQ. So a huge opportunity for at least 3 of the teams. And Peaky Penguins, of course, can cause a ruckus.
Well, as we said, we start the show in the semifinals to kind of leapfrog those quarters. But something really important to mention here is Tribe and Chazmac. Now, on the last page, you just saw how close they are in overall points. There's just a month left. So all of Worlds has been coming down to this pretty much Ready Set. And when we look at these 2 contenders here, Tribe and Chazmac fighting off in the semifinals rather than the actual grand finals, this is a big deal.
It's serious stuff. And I mean, look, we're looking at a pretty low chance that they wind up on the same semifinals matchup after qualifying through, but this is what we got. Tribe versus Chazmac, a seriously premier match already happening in the semifinals. And yes, as you said, it's going to have serious implications for how those points work out for Worlds.
Well, as far as these teams are concerned, Tribe and Chazmac, 2 of the stronger squads in North America, and honestly, probably a little bit divisive. I want to know your predictions at event.brawlstars.com. We'll show you those numbers a little bit later. I anticipate Tribe being on the heavy end, Kenny, as North America Tribe. Yeah. But Chazmac has been the recent team really surging forward, in my opinion.
And I think opinions. Fellas, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect this from y'all. I decided to zag from my normal Tribe pick. It's been 2 months in a row that CMG has won, so I thought, hey, logic and reasoning, they've won 2 in a row, why would I bet against them? But it seems y'all feel similarly, I thought.
I mean, listen, run that tape back, because it was just yesterday that I was putting Chazmac Gaming up here, that I was believing in Toast, and you guys were like, you know, I don't know, you know, I think I'm unsure. That's my Ready Set impression.
Okay, I was gonna say that couldn't be me.
I don't sound like that at all. No, but seriously, like...
Okay, Dollar Rob.
No. I think Chazmac are at this point where they are really, really at Tribe skill level. It's not like they were punching up before. They really are on the same level now. And after having won 2 monthly finals a row against them, I really do think that Chazmac does have this one on.
Yeah, I think this is a big matchup. And, you know, jokes aside, I think this is kind of fun how we've gotten here because, as I said, I was, and not even like banging my drum, I'm so cool. That part though, but like I was one of the first guys to be like, you know what, I think this Chazmac gaming team kind of stepping up, kind of doing it. You guys were like, all right, you know, I need to see more, and then we saw a little bit more, and then Kenny was like, all right, listen, I go by science. You win 2 in a row, I'm here, and then all of a sudden now we're here. This is how slow the needle moves. It's been months that we've seen Chazmac kind of do this, and so when it comes down to it, usually I look at this matchup as Tribe being the upper card, but as we jump into match 1, I think the tables have turned, and when we look at Chazmac versus Tribe, I think it's Tribe versus Chazmac. Jumping in here, these are the old standards, the North American heroes, Zulon, Tyrant Star, and Izlivy. Ready, set. When we talk about the red, white, and black, these guys are a staple of the scene. They've been here forever, and they have had their ups and downs. Right now, though, I think this story is more about Chazmac trending up than Tribe trending down, and so Tribe, I think, really needs to put on a show here.
Totally agree. I mean, really at this level of play, no one's getting worse. Everyone's just getting better, and I think Chazmac Gaming have just kept the pedal to the metal a little bit harder than Tribe Gaming. So Tribe Gaming, they have a reputation, of course, to uphold, but also they are trying to get those Worlds points to go ahead and qualify directly to Worlds instead of having to fight their way through LCQ. A remarkably strong team. I just wonder, you know, how is this going to look in the semis?
I mean, that's a good question to ask, because as we jump into their opponents, Tribe Gaming has their work cut out for them with Chazmac, Toast, RBM, and Fade. We see these guys, 4-man roster, really fun to watch play as of lately, Kenny. These guys have just owned the spotlight, and also this, worth noting, they've got a little bit of a team house going on here, not all 4 players present, but certainly a lot of communication going on down here.
Yes, sir. Nose Fade with a fresh cut as well. Mad respect. Look good, feel good. Big believer in that philosophy. And part of my influence for why I end up selecting this team is, like you said, they've been hot recently. Very true on your side. And kudos to you. You did pick CMG over Tribe last month. I thought this month round, there wouldn't be enough representation of CMG on the docket, but it seems that all 3 of us went in the same direction. I'm glad we did, though, because 84-16, that is not. CMG deserves way more love than that. So now I'm okay with our selection for sure. It is much closer to a 50-50 in my mind.
So first of all, as soon as you said that, I was looking at my notes, and I thought public opinion had gone overwhelmingly in Chazmac's favor, but no. The world is still as it should be. 84% in the way of Tribe Gaming is what I expect out of North American fans. I guess it's time to see if they can put up or shut up. This is the moment. Bands coming out, the new guys band. Sam also taking off the table. Worth noting there for sure as we jump into safe zone here. But first pick being Bonnie, and then followed up by the Eve and the Colette.
We've seen an explosion of Sam in this region, and as repercussions of that, EMEA especially has been another region that has used this brawler so much. So I'm not super surprised, especially a ban into CMG for that Sam makes a lot of sense in my mind. If this is the first monthly finals you're joining us for this month as well, Shelly going to be everywhere in the ban stage. Cordelius, the newest brawler in addition to the game, going to be banned everywhere, so get used to it. It's something that's been a normal occurrence, and I don't really blame either of these teams for using those ban slots very wisely.
Well, we take a look at what Chazmac Gaming is bringing to the party. Just long-range nonsense. Bell, Brock, and Bonnie. All 3 Bs are just going to be planning to attack from a distance. You know, I guess Bonnie can jump in and secure some kills there. That'll help on all-out aggression plays. But really what we've seen across the board has been this 2-1 style where 2 players get aggressive and 1 plays defense. I don't think Chazmac's signing up for that with this draft.
Yeah, interesting stuff. I think Piper on the other side. Piper won't do quite as well into somebody like Bonnie that has a lot of health points, but that's where Colette can really shine. So I think they kind of round out their composition with a brawler that they are very good with. I like Piper into both Brock and Bell as well. A little extra range, higher DPS from that distance, good reload speed, and of course can still dish out a pretty good amount onto the high save. So I see the pros and cons kind of both sides. I don't think this is a clear-cut draft, but I will say between Colette and Piper, I think Tribe Gaming have some great options to get some high safe damage. It's going to be up to Bonnie to kind of explode, come down the sidelines, and for Brock to tear it open and play this extra distance against Piper well.
Options. That's the takeaway. I'm coming from your analysis there, Kenny. I see a lot of options here on the side of Tribe Gaming. They can be aggressive. They can fall back. Colette's going to hit that 13%. But across the way, Chazmac really only have one strategy to do so. And it's not going to be relying on defense, honestly. I think they want to be not over-aggressive. They want to be calculatedly offensive. But with his Livy landing shots like that, not going to be a great look. RBM is on the objective here. Tribe Gaming, in general, going to deal with him. And right off a first shot, 68% left for Tribe. Chazmac with a great jump in.
Nicely done to CMG there. I think Tribe, though, with the brawlers that they have, like you said, they have selections and options. If Tyrant can get a super and guaranteed 10%, Zulon now hunkering down as Livy also firing away at the high safe, and all of a sudden it's a turnaround here. They're doing great work as Livy with the bonus kill as well. Tyrant popping a gadget, trying to stay alive, can't quite do so, but the damage already done. 30+% swing here now for Tribe Gaming.
Tyrant just now respawning, trying to make the moves on the left-hand side, but Tribe Gaming doing a ton of damage already. 65% in the pocket for him. Meanwhile, Chazmac have only done 40. Nice combination there from CMG on the right-hand side. That's going to send RBM all the way in. Will get eaten up. My Eves, little guys. And so Tribe Gaming getting rest on, but immediately turn it around. Fine damage on the safe again.
Is Livy a fine piper as well, one of his better brawlers, I would say, especially from the long distance like that. This is the close matchup that I expect to see. Back and forth right now, each side trying to claim this mid-control. Tyrant and RBM going to trade here, 2v2. CMG, though, with better footing. A dive in now from RBM. Shots being landed by Brock as well. But here come 4 spawners and a full Tribe roster. This could be the opportunity they need with the seconds expiring.
Well, there's 16% left. Chazmac no longer have the lead. Tribe Gaming pop it, and doesn't matter how much is left. Chazmac can't reach, and Tribe Gaming get game number 1.
Nicely done. I mean, this is a big month for both of these teams, right? We saw the leaderboards. We saw the ramifications this will have going into future months. Tribe Gaming, a team that's arguably had a better year in terms of monthly finals. It's gone CMG's way more recently, but when you consider things like Masters and how well they did there, this is a team that has reached the highest of highs. Now they just need to hold down the fort at home, and CMG not going to be the easiest team to hold down a fort to. The throne of NA East is certainly one that is going to be fought very hard over for the remainder of this season.
Eve there getting a lot of value. Again, the options here for Tribe really helping out. Chazmac, if all 3 of them look at you, you pretty much die. That's what this comp does have going for it. But if they lose this mid ground, it's some trouble. And Tribe Gaming kills in the mid lane, already making it happen. Zulon with the trade out. And so a 2-on-2. Just a tickle on the enemy safe here. Chazmac has looked at it, but here comes Colette. Zoom in. 86% left for Chazmac.
Little wall break going down for his Livy as well. They need to be careful about the nest eggs on the ground, one of the added benefits of selecting Bell for their side. Tyrant, though, it's going to be tough to win this out. The range of Bell and Brock can be overwhelming at times, and while Colette deals a hefty amount of damage onto that high safe and typically does well into tanks, the longer range brawlers not necessarily catering to her specialty. The spawners, though, doing the blue side a big favor, going to be stepping over those 2 nest eggs, and they're basically going to be wasted there. So now that's going to pave the way a little bit for his Livy, Zulon, Tyrant to kind of progress their way up the map, but it's actually CMG right now who are progressing, piling on damage there, and now a small lead for the boys in red.
Is Livy doing a great job there of baiting himself? Low HP, Chazmac want to make it happen. RBM reads what's going on and jumps in, but jumps in a little bit early as Livy's still alive, and so it looks like an opportunity is anything but. Really, really well done by his Livy to bait that jump out. And a lot slower of a game this time around. 40 seconds on the clock, 78 remaining for Tribe, 82 remaining for Chazmac. And so Tribe on the losing side at the moment. RBM jumping in again. Gets 4,000 damage, but then taken out. Worth it or no?
Maybe worth it. I think right now it's looking like it with 20 seconds.
Will trade out, so damage available. Chazmac, though, still has the lead. Colette comes in, and they still have the lead from a distance. Tyrant Star caught some shots, but it's not going to be enough. Chazmac find the damage on the bottom side. And so CMG wind up winning game 2.
Whew, a little bit of a nail biter we got going on, and it's only set 1 F dot. This is insane. Again, we can't state it enough how big this is for the rest of the year, and the fact that we get this matchup in a semifinals is crazy to me. Last month, this was a 3-0 in Chasmic Gaming's favor, but we've seen this go down to a 3-2 a lot of the year for both sides. That's more of the feel that I'm getting right now versus that 3-0 we saw last month.
Zulon on this eve, I've been really looking at. I think being able to walk over this water is really important so that you can stay controlled on this right lane. Hard to imagine any other brawler kind of doing what Zulon has been able to do on the eve, and I'm a hater. So I think it's working out this time around. And obviously, with respect to damage, 13% done with the safe so far. Tribe Gaming in a good position.
Let now keeping the range as well. Fade holding on to a super here as Livy backing away too. I mean, the fight between these two teams so close right now. One kill can make all the difference in the world, and there's Zulon once again. Several shots landing onto RBM, but with so much HP, it's easy for Zulon to charge up that super onto RBM. However, it's hard to get the finishing blow to get a kill. RBM playing that distance really well. Now a Sugar Rush going down on the right-hand side might allow for the two teammates to kind of climb up the map as Tyrant has to stay back, just can't keep up with the range of Brock and Bell. So we may see an opportunity here for CMG if they can land a kill. And as I said that, as Livy's like that. It is what it is, and now Tribe right back in full swing.
Chasmac fighting in this mid for neutral is honestly what they should be looking for. This is ideal for them, and they're not landing their shots like they were earlier. Honestly, in game number 1 where they lost, they were tapping. Toast was finding these shots. All of them were looking at the same target, and things were working out well. Now Chasmac turning things around here, kill after kill. RBM has eyes on the prize and is able to live just a little while longer. Teammates dead. But a nice aggressive play here coming out from Chasmac, and that brings Tribes down to 58%. So Chasmac with a 20% lead or so. Things looking good for the red team at the moment, Kenny. But about 25 left to go, and Tribe on the offensive.
It's going to come down to the wire here. Tribe need to make it count. 10% damage being dealt there, but Tyrant being dealt some serious damage. Slides through that final shot into Brock, though. That may set up Tribe for another opportunity here as Livy gonna have to back away, though. 12 seconds to go. 58 versus 66 Tribe. Nowhere close to this high save. They need to get desperate. They need to climb up. Zulon dropping a gadget here. The defense successful, though. RBM with the finishing blows. It's Chasmic Gaming taking set number 1.
Really nice play there from Chasmac. You know, it was interesting towards the end where they stepped it up. The beginning and the middle of that game wasn't really going in their direction. Like I said, they kind of had what they wanted and were still losing, and that really has more to do with his Livy just popping off on the Piper, able to find those shots. But the second he was unable to just kind of kill everyone, Chasmac stepped forward and they take it.
I was impressed with both sides. I mean, that didn't really feel like an outclass for CMG. It just felt like a good old Brawl Stars battle. I think I saw big moments from both sides, and again, that's what I expect here. Last month, this was a 3-0 in Chasmic Gaming's favor. They've taken this matchup 2 times in a row, but Tribe Gaming have gotten the best of them several times this year as well, and historically too. I think Ready Set said it earlier, but this is a region that teams are getting better. This isn't Tribe getting worse. This is CMG rising to the occasion and showcasing to the world the depth that we've got over in NA East. I'm here for it. There's nothing better than seeing good competition between both sides. I think that's exactly what we got here in set number 1.
Strong composition as well. You know, you have the 2 classic long-range brawlers, and then Bonnie kind of fitting in there and able to jump on in there for the extra, okay, we got it, time to jump in, it's our turn. And I liked that. High DPS coming out from the guys on the right-hand side as well. But like I said, I mean, interesting to see North America West specifically, I suppose, approach this, or East, excuse me, because, like I said, I think East Asia, Southeast Asia, India, and even I was watching South America as well, all seem to be about leaving one guy to play D and everybody else being aggressive, and that's just not the way North America's playing. Very interesting to see such a wildly different approach.
Yeah, especially considering CMG seem to be a very aggressive team, ones that like their tanks. I felt like both of these sides played it a little more quote-unquote safe, right? A little more traditional for this map. Let's pick our long-range brawlers and do our thing, which is something I think in a very W-key world, a very W-key meta that we've seen recently, I'm not quite used to it. It's very refreshing kind of to get back to basics and go what they know. And it's going to be Crow as the first overall selection. Again, very traditional, very safe, and one of the better brawlers in the current meta.
Crystal Arcade, take a look at those win rates. Sandy being banned out, Tara and Mr. P, some of the more spoken about brawlers as of late. And Squeak, we got to address the Squeak, I suppose. You know, I still like Sticky Residue. I think there is still a space for it, but I ain't going to say no to 20, maybe 40% extra damage. So, Squeak, expect him to be consistently banned. Cordelius, on the other hand, got some play throughout the regions this weekend. Cordelius seems very strong on paper and honestly seems very strong on ladder, but at a competitive level, that range really does come into play.
I think so too, but when I saw the bans go through and no Cordelius, it was something that was definitely on my mind, considering the close, narrow lanes on the left and right-hand side of Crystal Arcade. Cordelius coming into this region, our previous 3 full broadcasts, he's been banned 68% of all matches, and including picks as well. When you add those together, his name's been called 83% of the time this weekend. I think it's just part of it, right? It's a new brawler. Teams aren't necessarily used to it. They're still messing with it. There's still some newness in that sense, but also I think it reflects how strong that Shadow Realm can be. So I think you got to pick your maps and your matchups right. Picking them here early, you do risk it a little bit, but I don't know if teams have necessarily found hardcore counters for him. So I think it can still work out for CMG here.
Leaving him available when you have first pick is questionable. Crow, I think, could be a nice look to, I don't know about counter it, but deal with it. Crow, Nita, and that third pick being the Zulon stew. Okay. High execution here coming out from the Tribe guys. Little balance of DPS coming out from all characters available. And then Spike on the other side. More control. So Chazmag's draft here is certainly more interesting for my money. But it's hard to say no to the Stulon. Who wins the draft here, Kenny?
I think that's a tough one. Honestly, it kind of goes back and forth for me. Again, Cordelius being so new. We've seen him a little bit this weekend. He's been very successful. The Nita one to me is interesting. I think Nita can work on this map. I'm curious if that's part of the influence when they see Cordelius, because Nita shows up from time to time here, but it's certainly not the most normal brawler in the mode. So I don't know if that was to address the B, if it was to address Cordelius. We'll have to see what the interaction they go with is. I'm imagining that they're going to put Crow in the mid here. They're going to run the lanes, and it's going to be a long-range fight for B, which I think favors their side. I like Spike going into Stu, but Cordelius, of course, gonna have to get up close and personal with these brawlers, gonna struggle for this, and as Livy and Tyrant clearly focusing the new brawlers. Toast, though, on one of his most iconic, if not his most iconic brawler, is gonna be tough there. Nice kill from him.
I honestly expected to see Tyrant on the mid Stu, you know, trying to choose between the Crow and the Stu. Not exactly an easy choice here, for sure. But as Livy just being aggressive, pressing up forward, Chazmag with 4 gems. As Zulon, I want to say winning on the right side because he's pushed up more, but Fade was just peeling back nicely and goads the right laner into trouble. So Chazmag winning on the right side, on the left as well, a quick turnaround. So it's 2-on-1. Nobody really has mid control though. Is Libby closer to the gem? Probably going to be able to pick this one up.
Yeah, and I think as Livy might have a hard time in this mid as well. Again, the long distance of Toast and Spike, typically a favorable matchup into Crow as well. Those Shadow Realm matchups we saw go down the left-hand side. Every time Cordelius enters that zone, assuming HP is the same for both teams, he automatically has an advantage just given the reload speeds that he can have in that world. Super going down right-hand side. Zulon just can't keep up with the range of Fade. A bounce in from RBM as well. He wants the smoke against this Livy. All the gems being spilled out. Close call, but ultimately Tribe are going to be okay for now. Bigger worry, though, is that 9 gem count that CMG has at the moment.
Tyrant sneaking up on the left-hand side. Next gem puts Chazmag on the clock. There's Livy picking up 2, and I believe there's, what, 6 downtown? So Tribe aren't as behind as it might seem, and Tyrant making some noise here, left-hand side, taking down the mushroom. And Fade, half HP, pushed out just a little bit. Tribe Gaming with complete mid-control now, but here comes the duel out of RBM, trying to take down his Livy, gets the kill, dies after the fact, thanks to Nita. Chazmag still on 9 gems.
I think this is wise of Tribe to leave these gyms behind. They're going to leave it to Zulon to collect as many as possible. I'm imagining Crow's going to pick these up upon respawn. Has the jump as well, so even if they get put into a Shadow Realm or something crazy, he can try and avoid that with a nice dodge. Right now, Zulon living in that world. RBM closing the gap, gets the kill there, and now puts his Livy in a tough spot as well. Going to be backing away because the gym count now with CMG 10 to 13 can't reset it. They need these kills as Livy now exiting the world back into the reality of the rest of them. Super jump available. Going to be diving in now, going straight for Fade. It's going to be a takedown immediately, though. CMG corralling in the top right-hand side and will survive. 13 gems in their pocket and another game win for the red roster.
Dude, RBM, what a play. RBM, what a play. And honestly, haters are going to take it away and say it was all Cordelius, but the attention to hit that specific target, he's in the right lane. He's doing his job. He just did his job really well, folks. Ooh, RBM bringing that victory home for CMG. NA.
I think it's
game, though.
played.
Go ahead, Kenny. What are you saying about his Livy?
I was going to say, I think they played that really well. I think by default, you know, they were in a tough spot. Obviously, CMG with a big lead, but especially considering that they were down in the gym count, losing all those gyms at a good moment. They had the Livy jump. I think it came down to the wire there. That very easily could have gone Tribe's way. But there's that RBM. Like you said, it can be a good brawler, but I'm with you. If you play it well, it doesn't matter. But finally, they shut that thing down. It's going to be a close call here as Tribe Gaming with a small lead over CMG.
Ooh, Toast. Just barely getting out of trouble. Just kidding. Poison ticking you down. Tribe Gaming halfway there. Chazmac just now making it happen. RBM does have the Shadow Realm active, but is Livy dealing with him around the bend? Falls down again. So a 2-on-1. Tyrant just running this one so far. And about tied up. Chazmac up 2 gems, but mid-control generally in the way of blue. A lot more 1v1 oriented this time around, Kenny.
Yeah, and RBM currently taking on a 1v1 versus his Livy on the left-hand side. Fade taking on the lane against Zulon. Tyrant trying to climb his way up here. Not going to have the easiest time, though, as CMG are now getting involved. Tyrant with the skate away. Zulon, again, is not going to be able to have the easiest time with the range. It's actually going to be a trade out here, though, so the countdown going to be reset as Livy rushing in now. Going for the dive, going for gold. And gets the kill as well. Going to disrupt things here, and all of a sudden, it's Tribe Gaming. 7 gems, now 8 in their pockets.
Fearless Crow behavior, knows he's the gem carrier, but still knows he's the one that has to chase down that pickup. Aggression paid off. Still could have used some more since Chazmac in the money. 10 seconds to count down. RBM targeted Zulon, so he's after the Z, but his Livy can't catch up. Fade waddling away. Toast a million miles. Chazmac win the game and the set. 2 above Tribe. And that one looked easy.
Yeah, game number 2 did not look the same as game number 1. CMG are looking as fierce as ever. We all put our money on Chazmac Gaming, but what I did not expect was a start like this. I expect things to go 1-1, especially considering how close call that first set was. Really could have gone either team's way, but for now, it's going to be CMG 2-0. It's going to be left to Tribe to respond, and especially with the expectations that we put on these guys, they got a lot cut out for them here.
For real. I did expect this one to, if you wanted my detailed, not analysis, my detailed prediction, I would have said 3-1 with a lot of these sets going 3. I did not expect Chazmac to be up 2-0. Now, of course, we seem to be counting chickens before they're hatched, of course. Still a ton of Brawl to be played. Hot Zone is next. Knockout and Brawl if Tribe wind up getting a win. And so I think Chazmac coming out a lot hotter than a lot of people might have anticipated. Because I said it earlier in game number 1, Tribe, they're not exactly dropping the ball here as Livy is making plays. Tyrant's doing the stuff. Like, I'm not even singling out Zulon. Everybody's playing well. Chazmac really just making these moves.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody from Tribe looking good too. When you look at the stats category, I mean, this isn't everything. Obviously, winning the game mode means the most, picking up the gems, holding on to them. That's all stuff that counts. But I mean, at face value, Tribe Gaming have certainly looked good. Wild to think too. I mean, again, can't count out Tribe. These guys have been fantastic this year. In the history of Brawl Stars, they showed their stuff at Masters and LAN events. They've won multiple monthly finals this year, but there's a possibility for the second time in 2 years, last time and last month being the first, that Tribe Gaming gets swept in the BSC, and that's something that would be unbelievable to me.
Love that music. Let it rock a little bit. Open zone, our next arena. As we jump into hot zone, bans are out. No Lou, no Stu, no Sam. Sam was kind of the star last time around. But that Squeak first pick, I gotta say, not banning the Squeak on hot zone, pretty close to a mistake. But I'm not the guy that comes out here and says yes, no. Amber answer on the other side, like that choice.
I like Amber too, and the brawler win rates clearly reflect that too from all of the monthly qualifiers across the world. I like Squeak a lot in his current position. I think on this map, it is a wide open map, but Squeak can be a real threat to push people off the point, especially with Lou being gone from this draft because of the ban stage. I think that is one very viable option. Of course, Squeak Livy, very apparent, one of his better brawlers, one that he's more known for, so I expect to see him on that brawler. Could be a lot of fun to watch that. Amber and Pam, though, a pretty strong combination, especially considering the distance that Amber can cover, the oil that she can spill out, and of course Pam with the healing station is tough to beat.
You know, I would never want to be called Squeak Livy, just saying. Don't call me Squeak Dot ever. Squeak is arguably my favorite brawler. Do not call me Squeak Dot. All right, draft finished here. Lola and the B. High DPS here. Tribe Gaming going with some comfort selections. Jokes aside, as Livy is known for Squeak, and I think we see similar stuff out of the B and the Lola. So a nice draft here for Tribe, everything they're comfortable with. Chazmac, on the other hand, Carl! And then Amber Pam. Amber Pam are two of the more aggressive, just hard to be near characters. And so Chazmac picking brawlers that are really zoning brawlers away from that hot zone. Chazmac Gaming, I like their draft. I think it comes with a real big plan. Tribe, though, I can't hate. It's just stuff they're good at.
I definitely see the appeal to both sides. I think B, a very safe pick. I think Squeak makes a lot of sense given the current meta. And again, Tyrant on Lola. Lola is a brawler that we've definitely seen this weekend and makes sense as well. I think Chazmac Gaming on the other side, a lot of health points coming in, some big control coming in from Toast, and RBM can slide some shots through, does good into the squishier brawler of Squeak. Now we're going to be diving in on that matchup as well. Immediately taken down, though. Love to see that out of Tribe Gaming, and despite all that hard work, despite having the kill count, they're still the ones down. They got to start climbing here and approaching 10% now.
RBM goes in and gets put down just as quickly. This flying hook brought him in there. Not a great look for the geology guy. Toast right side, dealing with Tyrant, while the other players 2v2 on the left and the mid. It's Tribe that is winning this duel at the moment, though. About a third of the way done here. As Chazmac struggling to get on that point. I want to see more Amber Pam team up. RBM, the Carl, just hasn't been able to get in there, Kenny.
Yeah, no value out of that super either. They do get another one instantly, though, since Amber can charge up off the oil on the ground already. Squeak keeping the distance against RBM there, too. Here comes the healing station as well, so it will place Fade onto the hot zone. Trying to convert some very valuable percentage there. It's still a lot to overcome, though. 65% now for Tribe. CMG nowhere to be found on the hot zone. Even Fade, as healthy and bulky of a brawler as it is, hasn't really been able to find that breakaway here. A dive in from RBM, just trying to get something going for the team, as Livy distracting long enough, RBM low enough HP to where he can't go onto that hot zone, and now 90% for Tribe Gaming.
Man, what a play there from RBM, knowing exactly how to play this, but I just think it's too little too late. His team now finally stepping up the point. 88% is the number for Chazmac to beat. Now, there's a ton of time, a minute plus, 90 seconds almost. No, that's not right, but it's besides the point. Chazmac, they have to sit here, though. Any movement, and they lose it. Tyrant inching up on the left-hand side, as Livy and Zulin both under half HP, but still worth noting on the right. Fade finishes off one. RBM chasing Tyrant on the left-hand side. Still 64%. Tribe Gaming haven't stepped back on the point, as they're stuck at 88. Here with Fade barely alive. Kenny, this is Tribe's moment to jump back in here as Libby falls, but Tyrant's here.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm having PTSD of last month, F-Dot. This is getting closer and closer. 2v2 situation. Zulon, Tyrant rushing forward. RBM dropping.
He's so slow!
Well, they only need a few more percentage point. Tribe holds on. No comeback this time. Tribe Gaming getting one on the leaderboard, but man, it was close.
Man, it was tough. They brought about 30% while keeping Tribe scoreless at that 88, but then Fade had no HP, and a great play there by Tribe Gaming to step on forward. As Libby doing a lot of the work here on the Squeak, as you would expect. Squeak just so dominant in this game mode hot zone.
Weak now left-hand side here too. Zulon receiving some heavy heat coming in from Toast, but will survive the interaction. RBM doing what he does.
Up left side.
Aggressive, and it's gonna be a trade. This one again, back and forth. Tribe though, with a nice shot coming in from Zulon, are gonna be able to claim the hot zone and just a few percentage points of a lead.
That's something that I feel like you've said a lot, and I have also, whether I've said it or not, Zulon with a nice shot. The B has been working out here for the mid laner, and Tyrant scoring on the right-hand side. Certainly a good look for Tribe as well. 50% and counting, and the blue team solidified on the point. As Libby can't deal with the spinning Carl, and now the door open here for Chazmak, but not as wide as it was in game number one. Fade's losing on the right-hand side, and Toast, for as good as he is, can't deal 2-on-1 by himself. So Tribe up 70-22.
Little cut off there from the Squeak gadget. Two red brawlers on the right-hand side. Zulon picking up yet another one here. Gonna be a 2v2 in the mid as they back away here. Squeak shots going down. Fade relying on the high health points there, but gets a super down in the final moments. RBM low HP. Takedown there. 88%. Zulon and his teammates just need to get these final few percentage points. We saw Chasma Gaming get close last time, but not quite overthrow them. Tribe, though, might have to make a comeback here once again and get back on this hot zone before things get out of hand.
Oh my goodness, it's exactly the same 88% as it was in game number one. Toast here taken care of by Tyrant. Stepping on the point now, all three members of Tribe Gaming. It's 90 and it's pushing. Fade has to be the hero, and he gets one. He can't get the second, but Tribe does, and it's enough for the set.
About time Tribe Gaming put up a set on the leaderboard. I feel like it wouldn't have done them justice to go down in another 3-0 fashion. This is too good of a team for that. Whether they win or lose, much stronger showing. Your prediction, though, still intact. The 3-1 in detail for CMG. I was thinking more the lines of a 3-2 for CMG with my prediction.
Sure.
So again,
Just did everything else. Tyrant won the lane. Tyrant did his job. Zulon really stepped forward here in this one, brought his team the victory. And because of that, Chazmak Gaming still on that point. Well, set, you know what I mean. But Tribe treading water. And as we head to knockout here, this is where I think things are very, very even. Some game modes, some teams excel in, some teams fall down in, some teams, or excuse me, some game modes, even Kenny, like Brawl Ball, I think, just show different things to take a look at. Knockout, very pure Brawl. And I think CMG and Tribe Gaming are more evenly matched up as we jump into Flaring Phoenix.
yeah, this one's going to be spicy to say the least. I mean, knockout is very punishing, right? You have one life in this game mode every single round, and you gotta make it count. If you go down early and give your opponent a 3-2 lead in terms of brawler count, it's tough to come back from. CMG going for this tank here early. So Fang, not something that 100% shocks me. It's been a while since I've seen him on this map in particular. RT, of course, no stranger here, but Fang this early, I am a little shocked to see him come out.
So I'm shocked to see him come out this early, but Chazmak liked the Fang, they played the Fang, and I always thought Fang Super, the way it works, fits in nicely for knockout. And so I don't hate it. In fact, I like the Fang, especially when you pick it next to the RT, who you can pick anybody next to the RT, and I'm kind of happy with it. But early, if you're picking the Fang now, you're asking Tribe to pick stuff specifically, because otherwise, why would you pick it here? nobody's taking it away from you, so just pick it later. So that choice is intentional. Either they want Tribe to answer with a tank buster, or they're just giving themselves the opportunity to answer back. And so with characters like Tribe have the teleport and the jump in, which let's just say 2 teleports, Chazmac should look for something defensive, question mark?
Question mark indeed. I guess I don't understand the philosophy there with Fang this early. I think you're right. I mean, I think you're on the money in the sense that CMG are very smart, intellectual people. They played a million different drafts out. So I think getting Fang this early is attempting to bait Tribe into something. Maybe it was the Gray. I think Pam, honestly, a good shout for Galaxy Brain this. Maybe they wanted Gray for his super to be rendered almost useless. Again, if you dive into healthier and healthier brawlers as the match progresses, it's going to be more difficult for Tribe to get these easy kills. I think if you're the Tribe gaming side, you're almost forced to just hunker down, wait till the end, take advantage of this healing station, maybe a big dive in from his Livy. Zulon maybe can find an isolation play, but I don't know. I don't think this is going to be an easy one for Tribe, to say the least.
I mean, that's the thing. When you play the assassin characters, and I'm classifying Gray as an assassin for the moment, like, you got to choose, all right, we're going to jump on who? RT? Fang? Looks like it is Fang, but there's trade out good. Zulon comes through as well. Now, there you go. So as long as they jump at the same time, what was important there was a couple of shots were landed, brought a single target down to half HP, and that target elimination, that target prioritization. And so, real heavy comms for Tribe. The execution has to be that clean, otherwise I don't think they win it.
I think execution has to go that distance for both sides. I mean, you got to be clear cut on the comms. You got to know who you're going against. You got to pick your matchups right and your timing right. We saw it work out for CMG in round number 1 and round number 2. Opposite. Tribe Gaming, they make their shot, they make it count. And I think that's exactly what you got to see from both of these teams here. I'm more looking out for this Fang super too. I'm always cautious when he has a super, especially when there's 3 brawlers clustered up together. He has that roundhouse kick. Can be absolutely lethal here. So I think it's just going to come down to who simply plays it better. That pure Brawl Stars that you mentioned a little earlier.
Yeah, again, Tribe Gaming, what they did last round has to happen for them to get a dub. They bring somebody down low, and then both assassins, TP on the backside and the jump in from Bonnie. They get a TP on the left side, but Fang answers back right side, falls down, Tyrant still alive, as was Livy. Fade, Tyrant, Fade wins the duel. And Chazmac win the round. A nice answer from CMG. Things don't line up perfectly, so they take set 1, game 1.
That was a little murky right there. CMG doing a good job amidst all the chaos, though, are going to survive for now. Tribe Gaming going to be holding their breath here. It's now CMG who have forced a match point. This is looking closer and closer, and again, we got to see that round 2 action coming in again from Tribe. Perfect play right there, though. What a gadget off the rip. Now they have visibility of the map, numbers advantage, perfectly executed from Zulon.
I think it's easy now. What's troublesome about this composition for Chazmac is just jumping on into the scrum. Still not guaranteed, as you can see them playing it safe. RBM pulled and pushed, and that's going to be round number 1. Easy for Tribe when you get an open frag like that. Just... that is what cannot happen for Chazmac, but a nice heads-up play there from Tribe, getting the cheeky victory. You love to see it.
Yeah, and I mean, a second follow-through gadget as well. Zulon going to be opening up this map even more, not afraid to teleport to this spot. He has the visibility of the enemies. They can't just cluster up and hide anymore. This grass is too torn apart. So I think for Tribe Gaming, obviously they have the round advantage, but I think going here on out, they've got the future advantage if this goes to a third as well. It's just a little bit easier for them when you have all those things considered. They're not even worried about pushing in this time. They found their big kill in the first one. They just need to close this out, take advantage of the situation that they're in, the way the map is controlled right now. I mean, I'm impressed with Tribe Gaming. This is how a big team bounces back.
Both teams here looking for an opening. RBM taking some shots, and Tyrant's going to take the teleport here. Put a big beefy target right in the center. Poison coming in. Honestly, Chazmac in a rough position for the poison. RBM gets jumped on, but is Libby traded out thanks to the smoke. Fade trying to heal up, coming around the bottom side, but that's a 2v1. See you later. Chazmac lose round 1 and round 2, and so we go to a third game.
All right, Tribe Gaming still looking alive. If you're Chasmic Gaming, you know what you have to address. You can't let Zulon catch you off guard with a gadget here early. Those great gadgets can just tear open the map, take down walls, take down grass, whatever it may be. A perfect heads-up play there from Tribe. I don't think it'll be as easy for him this time, but it was clear that that big kill just swayed the entire momentum of that round. They're going to be keeping a little more hesitant this time. Definitely watching out for Zulon. He's just going to rush to this left-hand side, try and get to this wall here, and maybe pop a gadget successfully there. They throw up the sandbags. It does tear open that grass, though, and now Tribe are a very aggressive stance. This is not what we're used to seeing.
Not at all, but this is Tribe just realizing that they have to... mature is the wrong word. They have to evolve. There you go. They just can't stick to their old style of play. Whatever that might have been, they have to be a little bit more aggressive here. That puts Chasmac on the back foot. It's funny, Chasmac kind of want Tribe to be aggressive. They want Islivy and Zulon to jump in and make that misstep. But like, not this aggressive, bro. They need some metered approach. So Chasmac dealing with what Tribe has on the other side. Smoke slowly coming in, and Fade in trouble on the left-hand side. Chasmac, they don't want to be aggressive. Tribe playing this perfectly as Libby goes in, can't find the jump, but Zulon backside, waits, defends his back line, combines with his Libby for the kill number one. Fade taken down as well. Big Z handles business. Tribe Gaming take round one.
Whew, I had to hold my breath there, F-Dot. I mean, this is just a nail-biter to say the least. Back and forth the whole way through. Tribe found the keys to success. Problem being now they are out of those very valuable gadgets from Zulon. They only got a little bit of this grass, but it might be just enough to gain information as they progress through this final game. Keep in mind, CMG still on match point here, but if Tribe Gaming win this round, we're going to have a set 5.
Zulon has been just the player. He's making it work with the gadgets and the teleport, enabling his teammates, but then also making the intelligent plays. We've seen Zulon be aggressive and jump to the enemy backside, but also sat on his own backline in that last round. Love to see the dynamic play out of these players.
Impressive stuff.
RBM sniffing around on the right-hand side, Kenny.
Impressive stuff from both sides. Teleport through, the stun going down though. Now a dive in from his Libby trying to follow through for his teammates. RBM, Fade barely surviving. There's a pickup as well. Things going south for Tribe Gaming. All 3 members of the red roster looking fierce. And all of a sudden the storyline could change. CMG 1 round away from a 3rd monthly finals in a row, going to the grand finals.
Miscalculation there from his Libby, jumping in on the right side and just missing the target. Unfortunately for him and his fans, falls down to the wayside. That's what I said way back in game 1, round 1, step 1, was that as Libby and Zulon, if they're going to TP to the backside, have to do it at the same time on the same target. As Libby was split up, and it spelled disaster. Now Chasmac on match round, honestly. Tribe Gaming trying to force a 5th set to bring us to Brawl Ball.
3 strong in the mid for Tribe Gaming. The pressure high. The expectations we put on these fellas is ridiculous, and CMG are starting to earn that similar kind of respect that we put on teams like Tribe Gaming in this region. RBM flank left-hand side. That healing station going to be an issue here. He did get the super that he very much wanted, and now with that storm closing in, it's going to come down to the wire here. 3 supers available for CMG. Another teleport through on the left-hand side. Dive in from his Libby. 2 low HP to handle the situation, though. 3v2 situation. A teleport through. A desperation play. It's not going to be enough, though. It's a lone tyrant. Toast stops the foot, though. Gets the job done. And Chasmic Gaming do it again.
Fantastic play out of Chasmac Gaming. Honestly, Tribe had all the momentum in the world there. And Chasmac just snap it back like a rubber band and take home the monthly finals for North America East here, Kenny. Just well played there by Chasmac. And honestly, that veterancy, when we look at these top end teams and we talk about the mental aspect and momentum and all this stuff, that's what you need to be a top team. Everything going in the way of Tribe Gaming, the historical favorites, 82% of the fan vote. Chasmac goes, nah. He just handles it. That's how you got to be a top team, and they are today.
I can't help but smile. I mean, another grand finals appearance now for Chasmic Gaming. Of course, this being a big semifinal matchup for both of these teams, 10 points being the separator here, and Chasmic Gaming going to take advantage. This next matchup is going to be a big deal as well, especially for our leaderboard. You know, some of these regions out here, they've had an opportunity for LCQ spots or world spots to be secured in month number 5 of 6. NA East too spicy for that, though. CMG now going to be feeling very good about their odds as they get a third win in a row against this Fierce Tribe Gaming roster.
Gonna be tough. Gonna be tough to look forward. Tribe Gaming. Oh man. Chasmac has solidified themselves as one of the go-to options here in this North American side. And like we said, you know, seeing my co-casters match me on my Chasmac prediction, oh, that's what we like to see. Not my co-casters, these guys popping off. But like, no. So really what I was saying is just, this is, I think you can no longer question it, right? I think the past couple of months, the summer has been fun to sort of ask. How, I think I asked 3-4 months ago, how real is Chasmac? How high can Toast reach, even though the guy's like 8 feet tall? How tall can he and his team be? That's what I was asking a couple of months ago. And then last month and the month before, I was asking, all right, well, you know, when does Chasmac kind of get it? Well, now they're getting it. And now I don't think you can question them anymore. RBM comes through with the MVP as voted by you at event.brawlstars.com. Great job here coming out from RBM, Toast, Fade. They all had their moments throughout this set. Nice fun stuff. Excited to see them in the monthly grand finals. They'll await the victor of the next semifinals here. But we got excited here because winning against Tribe this early on is a big, big deal. So when it comes down to big numbers, when it comes down to overall points for Worlds, Chasmac makes it to grand finals here. Tribe doesn't. But this is not just a win, Chasmac over Tribe. This, of course, limits the amount of points that Tribe could get and doesn't limit the amount of points that Chasmac gets here. So this is why this win is just a semifinals win, but it's larger than that in the grand scheme of things. And so you definitely want to keep your eyes on the prize, as Chasmac does here in the semifinals, moving on to the grand finals. That said, though, we do have another semifinals here on the eastern side of North America. We've got the matchup between two squads, Picky Penguins and Remaining 7. We'll be right back with the BSC.
Let's go.
Hey, welcome back, friends. It's just like that. We're back. And it's Ready Set now. How's it going, Ready Set?
First match of the day. That's crazy, but it is in line with our predictions. It is sad to see say goodbye to one of the top 2 teams already in one of the semifinals. So,
absolutely, yeah. And you know, just I got a little ahead of myself and called them monthly finals winners because my bad. Chasmac versus Tribe, used to seeing that in the grands, but just a semifinals for us here. Chasmac will await the winner of this next matchup in that grand finals. And so let's jump in and see what it looks like. Peaky Penguins take down High Ping. The team, not actually taking down High Ping. Somebody's got to take down High Ping. Help me out in my Power League. But the Table of Beasts fall down to Remaining 7 as well. An interesting look there.
yeah, I mean, someone had to tame them at some point, but Remaining 7 got to pay a lot of respect to these guys. That was a stellar match in the pre-broadcast monthly finals and is a well-earned spot for Remaining 7 Premier to earn them their semifinals game versus Peaky Penguins, who we've seen some of these guys before in previous monthly finals. Now we'll get to see how they square off on the big stage. But once again, this is typically not the arrangement that we see as far as how these teams go. Don't usually see Chazmac and Tribe on the same side of the bracket, so one of these two teams is going to be going on to the grand finals.
Well, we've got Peaky Penguins showing up here, Nat, Jay Hart, and Mitsua. Now, we've seen these players, as you said, we've seen them play before, sort of a bubble squad, if you will. If you're very familiar with the scene and you see a lot of the lower tier tournaments, no disrespect, you have seen these players in the past, and they have contended with some of the top tier squads. So what I'm saying here is there's competitive experience. However, is it enough to take care of Zeus and the boys? Is that question. Eddie, Reddy, what can you say about Peaky Penguins?
I mean, I will say, first of all, like, RC is my boy, first of all. Second of all, I mean, this team, I've been watching them for a while. It's a good squad of players, and they've repeatedly made some pretty good performance in the monthly qualifiers. Up against remaining 7, it's going to be a very difficult match. This is a routine offender when it comes to the broadcast monthly finals, when it comes to the semifinals. Luffy, Killer, Zeus, I mean, really need no introduction. They got Seabass on the bench as well. Might make an appearance today, you never know. But they started off this year with a bang, a nice monthly finals victory, and I'm hoping to see these guys come back in a way.
I like it. The repeat offender. The usual suspects, eh? Just Luffy, Killer, and Zeus coming out here. Zeus has been just one of the more dynamic players to watch play. Luffy also, you know, kind of finally finding a spot is what I want to say about Luffy here. I feel like he's popped around a lot of different teams, played with a lot of different people, and just now is really where I've seen him kind of hit his stride and become the brawler that I think a lot of people knew he could.
Yeah, and it's also no secret that, like, finding your home on a very consistent squad is the key to success, or at least, if anything, the key to consistency, which is what gets you to the World Finals. You can win a grand final once, but you got to do that repeatedly if you want to lock in that automatic qualification to Worlds, or at least get similar success if you want to make it to at least LCQ. So I'm happy for the guy too, but we got to see these guys kind of climb out of the rut that they've had over the last several months.
Now, of course, the winner of this gets the delicious treat of playing against Chazmac Gaming on a hot streak, just taking down Tribe. So, yeah, I sure, that's not exactly the best carrot at the end of the stick here. But when it comes down to it, both these teams really want to make their mark. There are some points in the running as well. Remaining 7 are on the regional leaderboard. They've gotten some dubs. Pesky Penguins as well. Peaky Penguins. I'm going to call them so many different team names today. I promise to help them out here, though. The Peaky Penguins will be going up against the remaining 7 roster. And, you know, when it comes down to it, I think this remaining 7 is the top card for sure. And so with Peaky Penguins jumping in here, you know, that's really what I'm trying to look at. If I am a newer squad, if you and your 2 friends wind up qualifying and just sneak your way in, I'm doing all the homework in the world. I'm knowing my opponent's pick rates, my opponent's ban rates. I'm coming in with a plan. That said, 2/3 of fans at home leading the way of Zeus, Killer, and Luffy, whereas 1/3 of y'all going with the Penguins. And honestly, with a logo like that, I'm a little afraid.
Yeah, that is a very scary penguin. That is definitely a young CEO penguin on the opposite side. So we'll see what they're able to...
He's got a LinkedIn.
Dude's definitely got... I bet he posts, like, LinkedIn content. He's definitely a LinkedIn content creator.
Definitely a LinkedIn influencer. Either way, the Peaky Penguins have banned out the Cordelius, and they'll go with Shelly first selection overall. And I'm gonna frame a lot of this conversation in the frame of this David versus Goliath matchup. Remaining 7 are not the #1 team in the world, but Peaky Penguins are a little bit greener than a lot of the opposition. And so with that said, Reddy, I think banning one of the stronger characters in Squeak, banning the newer character in Mushroom Guy, and then first picking Shelly, who's Shelly, I think is a good look and a good way to enter this arena as we look towards knockout.
Yeah, definitely like the selection from Peaky Penguins. It is one that demands to be played around, though. You have to select your other 2 brawlers. You can't just have like a good handful of brawlers here. You got to be playing in tandem with that Shelly. I think Jean's absolutely one that Peaky Penguins would have liked to have had because you can get a good combo pulling in someone and then finishing them off with Shelly. I think Shelly will sort of struggle to acquire ground versus opponents should they go for a wall breaker. I'm not seeing too much wall break right now from remaining 7 or maybe a whole lot of potential for wall break. A Gust selection is also wise for them so that they can assist the Shelly, throw that shield onto her, give her some extra damage, give her some extra health, let her do her thing. But I think that there's a lot of resiliency on remaining 7. They're going to be able to get that Jean star power fired up, right? Have some extra healing, and then Killer also just has a lot of health and a lot of damage in close range.
Speaking of which, Killer playing on the phone. Number of players wind up playing on the large tablet. Interesting look here for Killer going with the phone. Do you know numbers on devices for pros?
I do not, though I do know that most people do prefer to play with an iPad Pro. I like my phone, but I'm not a pro player.
I mean, we all know that. But.
Yeah, if it wasn't evident.
Oh, sick burn. Number 1, keep track. But we've got the Sprout, we've got the Shelly, and we've got the Gus. Strong draft here from Peaky Penguins. No hate. In fact, I quite like it. You mentioned everything that the Gus is going to do, and then the Sprout's just going to lock down, hey, we don't want to play over here, not allowed. So a strong look there from the players on the Peaky Penguins. But R7 here, a well-rounded draft for sure. RT just is RT. A lot of damage should you push up on him. And then Jean grab. Carl here for Zeus. Draft leaning either way for you. Ready, set?
If I had to pick one, I might say remaining 7. I do like the Shelly on the side of Peaky Penguins. I want to draw some attention actually to the Sprout selection for them because typically when you pick a thrower into Jean, then that's not really the greatest. But I think Peaky Penguins sort of realized that remaining 7 were going to be picking up that Sprout if they didn't go ahead and select it. So they decided we'd rather have to play with the Sprout than against the Sprout. So now it'll become how do we outplay the Jean using the Sprout? How do we afford ourselves some of that range and deny Jean the pull in the early game? It's going to be relatively difficult for them, but this is just remaining 7 having a good draft, sort of drafting Peaky Penguins into a corner, making them either take or play against the Sprout.
Peaky Penguins coming out of the gate waving the tribe flag. I take everything as positive until otherwise, so I don't think that they're rejoicing in the loss of Tribe Gaming in the semifinals that just happened. A little fresh though. Might rub some salt in the wound. Spread out here. Not a strong look. J Hart taking a bunch of damage and enabling the Jean. Giving the Jean that super. And so Killer, look, as soon as Killer has that super available, how much everything changes. Peaky Penguins pushed into the corner and nobody really able to answer with damage. Zeus wins the 1v1 and J Hart has an HP advantage. But Luffy turns it around. The 2v1 goes the way of R7.
Well done and well played for remaining 7. They managed to sort of isolate the Shelly there towards the end, keep her away from the teammates, and address her last. She's going to be one of the more difficult opponents to take on at first. See J Hart, maybe wanting to go for the lane switch, try and go to the bottom side, some machines of the pinning going around. The team comms in full swing. Remaining 7, though, gradually moving forward. They have all of their supers. They're pretty much kitted out for this final play. As long as they can keep J Hart away and keep him from getting a super, then they're in a good spot for the final bits of the game.
Nat brought down to half HP. Supers on everyone for R7. J Hart still doesn't have theirs, which is an issue. Because R7 could jump in at any time, and that's really when you want Shelly to have the double pump. But there's the shield on the shotgun player. Grab is good on the top side. J Hart answers back in mid. Luffy going after Gus, gets the kill. J Hart alive till the end. Killer, last one standing. This one goes the way of R7.
Well done for R7. I think that was played exactly how they planned on it going, exactly how they wanted it to pan out, because I think mostly the Jean versus a Sprout, they managed to keep that Sprout open for themselves and pick the Jean in the same go. This is a draft dynamic that we see across a lot of different matches. Pick the Jean, but leave the thrower open for yourself and let the draft work itself out from there. I think smart drafting for remaining 7. Peaky Penguins are just a little bit out of their depth here with the Brawler they've selected, but that's the beauty of the draft. You get to change things over from one game to the next. Already an early pickup for the Peaky Penguins and a response from remaining 7. Nice Kooky Popper there from Mitsuha. but no takedown quite yet. There it is.
Okay.
With the Sprout star power in, it's a 1v2.
I was just going to comment on the lackadaisical death there on the side of Peaky Penguins, but R7 has 2 of them. Little lazy round from both teams, if you ask me. Ready, set?
Yeah, not a whole lot of high-octane action. But Peaky Penguins, if anyone, have definitely come out on top here. Killer does
Looks
have
like
a
both
he's
of them
going to
kind
go
of
for
like
it.
oopsed. Nat should have been closer here to capitalize off this.
Maybe so. Hopefully Nat's still able to win this in the late game. Here it comes. No super for Killer, no pull available. Nat's going to try and get the super off. Might even have to recover the wall. Killer might have to make a play. Here it comes. Went for the damage, got the pull, but
Oh!
Seagar. Wonderful finish there for Nat. That was way too close for comfort.
Yeah, I went from alt-tabbing to just, wait a second, can she do this? Thankfully for Peaky Penguins, though, wins the round. Too close for comfort. Definitely the phrase I would have gone with as well, though. Note for both teams, though, not to get okey-doked like that. A couple of deaths just kind of happening last round. Can't happen again for either player. J-Hart has the super and the shield. Too far away, though. That was just... I'm not even going to call that a read from Killer, because Peaky Penguins told R7 what they were doing. Rough play there.
Pretty much, but still no casualties just yet this round. Remaining 7, 2 super strong. Nat has a super 2. Probably not going to be game-changing since Killer does have to can pull through all of those walls. Any target they so desire. Mitsuya and Nat obviously going to be desirable. You don't want J-Hart up in your face, especially when he could just be a couple shots away from that super. Here comes the shield though. Mitsuya on very low health, going to get taken down by the Vengeful Spirit. Still no super for J-Hart. The pull onto Nat and a takedown onto J-Hart. It's a round victory for remaining 7.
Peaky Penguins got way too spread out there, ready, set. I think they just set themselves up for failure by everybody kind of choosing their own adventure. Ooh. And that's that okey-doke kill I said you gotta watch. Peaky Penguins now with the numbers advantage, 3-2. Luffy down pretty low here, ready. This one should be all Penguins. But remaining 7 are the established top card. They are the, I mean, hard to call a team with Zeus veterans, but they are the more experienced team on the field for sure.
No doubt. I mean, if anything, they've been in the monthly finals more often. Here comes a big response from J-Hart. Easy super for him. And it's Zeus versus the world. Little Matcherino winner pin out here because he knows that he is outmatched on the 1v3. J-Hart now approaching from the bottom. Not even a super from Zeus. It was already over before that 1v3 started. And it's a game victory for the Peaky Penguins.
Yeah, having a lot of fun. You know, I love to see these squads come up here. You know, this is a competitive team. Clearly, you know, has a lot to learn as far as just looking at the regional leaderboards, not number 1, 2, or 3. But they're here to hang, they're here to learn, and they're having a lot of fun. And that's what's dummy important for me here, watching these players just kind of come up here, earn some wins, and really get the crowd behind them. Like we said, a third of the fans at home backing Peaky Penguins here against Zeus's team.
I think a pretty good number.
What was that?
Pretty good number. Pretty good amount of support here for the Peaky Penguins, considering some pretty green, some pretty fresh faces in the North American top 4. Great response here from J-Hart on the left side, and Luffy falls. But still, remaining 7 can get some good controls here, some good chops in. Killer especially needs to get this super and prepare for the next round. He'll be getting it gradually. You're always going to be getting it as Gene, which is why Peaky Penguins are sort of prioritizing him, trying to close in, get some close distance between him. Here comes a super as well for Mitsuya on the left side. J-Hart now approaching from the right. They're going to try and pinch Killer in. Looks like he almost went for the pull there. If he didn't at all, actually, Zeus goes down. Big question is, does Gene still have that super? It was a bit tough to see, and all the mayhem going down. If he doesn't have that super, it could be pretty devastating. J-Hart's also going to try and slide up the right side. Killer has the super. He might have to go for it. Thought about it,
Nice
flashed the
answer.
super, but no commitment.
No, that was a huge answer. Peaky Penguins have won a couple of times now off of J-Hart sneaking up forward and then just snapping somebody and having the 3-on-2. Remaining 7 were ready for it this time. They don't kill J-Hart, but they force them out of the conversation. That's the way you got to answer that. Really nice adaptation there from R7. And Peaky Penguins now have to find the victory on even footing.
It's going to be difficult for them to play into Killer's super. They have a couple of rounds to work with, but as long as Killer is able to fire up these supers early and often, might not even get towards the end of the game. Nat down with the super, affording a bit of room for Mitsuha. Zeus having to close around that left side. Luffy also probably quite close to his super as well. Not going to afford him too much. Killer on the right side still hanging on to the super. J-Heart now gets the bubble shield. Another kooky popper down. Zeus all the way out. The pull in from Killer and a gadget in from Luffy. Everyone falling down. Even J-Heart with the final shot. And remaining 7 take us on to a final round for the set.
Real close there. Honestly, R7 wins because of a slight blunder by J-Heart. Popping the super on the bottom right side without being able to confirm the kill meant that didn't have the super a little bit later, wasn't able to get that kill, and it all kind of spiraled down there. Knockout is so specific with resource allocation. One wrong use of ammo or one wrong super can spell the end. And Luffy coming in here gets knocked out of the super, but it's ultimately Gus that falls down. Nice kill on the side of remaining 7. 3-2, R7 with numbers.
Gonna be very tough to recover this ground. Zeus has a whole lot of range to work with. Nat doesn't have too many walls to work with. Might have to throw one up on the left side. Luffy doesn't have any gadgets. Nat has blocked herself off. No gadgets also. Can't get that wall back and can't break it down if it becomes disadvantageous for J-Heart also seeking cover. Just needs a little bit more damage. There it comes with Killer getting the final bit of damage. It's just Nat versus the world. The final shot coming in. And that's set 1 going to remaining 7.
Nice look there coming down from R7. The Peaky Penguins did put up some a couple of different fights there. Got to look at J-Heart for being one of the players that really enabled the team to find some of the victories that they did. Wasn't easy. Brought it to 3. So a nice look there. Remaining 7 still remaining the top card for now. We're jumping into Kaboom Canyon after this one ready. And so dissecting this one, again, if you are coaching Peaky Penguins, what's your takeaway from this? And how do you tell them to move on to the next one?
Man, I mean, this is tough. I think this is one that mostly took place in the draft. You know, some will disagree on me, or some will disagree on this with me, but really think it came down to that Jean versus a Sprout. It seems so devastating. Jean was still able to get some good pulls in versus Mitsuha as well. It was so troublesome for them to deal with. There was about nothing that Nat could do versus the Jean. Even though Nat did get some good kills here and there, the overgrowth came in clutch at a couple of opportune moments, but remaining 7, smart drafting on their part. It is the key to victory in, well, 100% of matches.
Well, it certainly worked out here. Got to agree. I think the Sprout was just eaten by that Jean time and time again. That said, J-Heart, you know, it's interesting. J-Heart did a lot of the hard work fighting some of those early kills, 7 in total, but low on the DPS there. Just getting the damage when it mattered, I suppose.
Yeah, and also if you want to talk about the opposing side, remaining 7, walking away here, Killer especially, 8 kills on his side and a whole lot of DPS, but this guy's on the Jean. Killer, he does about 2 things really darn well. He plays a Jean and he plays the Ashe. Those are Killer's specialties. You let Killer have the Ashe or you let Killer have the Jean, then you can say GG already. Okay, it's not that cut and dry, but still is a very dangerous couple of brawlers to allow him to have, and I think Peaky Penguins have learned their lesson the hard way already.
Well said. Hopefully for them and their fans, able to snap back here as we head out to Kaboom Canyon in Heist. Now, Reddy, I talked about this when we jumped into Heist way earlier in the program, I think semifinal number 1. I guess that was literally the last match that we played, but whatever, dude. Where around the world, we've seen an adaptation to this 2-1 where, like, a lot of base races all across international regions. 2 offensive players, 1 guy hangs back and plays defense. Not what we saw here today in North America.
No, and I think just because we did see that around the world doesn't mean that that's usually how it works. I think especially on a map like Pit Stop, which is a little bit greener in the competitive map pool, that's going to be way more viable since you have walls to work with. We'll get to the Cordelius in a second. Kaboom Canyon, it's going to be more about some of these long-range brawlers. You don't want to be left hanging if you have a short-range brawler. Yeah, like it could work if you have it as one of your last picks. I'm looking at you, Killer, to maybe select the Daryl. But when it comes to earlier in the draft, it's really easy to pick a brawler that'll break down the bushes at mid, get rid of some of the walls, and nullify your actions for pretty much the entire game.
Well, I mean, you want to talk about short range. Cordelius has short range.
This is true. He has a lot of speed, however, and he'll also be able to stun lock, sort of metaphorically, people into the Shadow Realm for a good while. He's a very, very good brawler. He has fast speed, so it'll be easier to juke out enemy shots. I think Cordelius is a bit of an exception.
Probably not wrong there. Dude's pretty strong. Substitution here on the side of Peaky Penguins. Matt taking a seat for the moment as RC steps on in. Jay Hart, like I said, for my money, was the MVP of Peaky Penguins last time around, so we'll see if things revolve around that player again or goes a different way. Cordelius, Shelly, and Sam on Kaboom Canyon for Heist. What grade does this draft get? Ready, set?
I'll definitely give it an A here for remaining 7. I think that Peaky Penguins were anticipating a longer range map to go with the Eve early on. And yeah,
Yep.
Eve's going to get some value from floating over the water. But the main feature is that you get spawnables. You throw the gear on, you get like 4 little Eve babies. And then J-Heart also going to operate best at long range. You have the AoE on your attack when it explodes at the end of your range. So ideally you'd stay around there. It's also a relatively slow shot. So mid-range, not ideal for this brawlers. And you can see Peaky Penguins are also kind of trying to go back on what they had previously selected with their last pick of Otis to counter out that Sam. The deal is that remaining 7, they're going something more of, yeah, let's just run it down. It is the run it down idea, have Sam perpetually move forward, waste all your ammo, and that's not something that J-Heart's going to be doing so well into with the Brock, but he is a very good Brock player, so we'll see what he's able to do.
Oh, disgusting. Killer out here, get it done, just walked past 2 different players. 13% done already. And yeah, this looks like Peaky Penguins are going to play tower defense. And remaining 7 are just going to be, I don't know, some sort of zombie type creature, maybe a plant.
Yeah, something like that.
Forward, you know, just like Peaky Penguin's going to take a lot to get out of here.
Yeah, with some of the...
Just to keep walking.
That's all it is. It's the run it down. I mean, this is what people call it too, and it's precisely what they're doing. Just constantly moving forward. Luffy staying alive, sending people to the Shadow Realm too. Does get taken down a little bit early there, but a lot of damage has already been done. Peaky Penguins are slowly starting to move up. Killer on the right side also, just trying to get that endless motion forward. RC, though, finally rotating onto that lane is going to be very, very ideal. You got to keep those counters on the appropriate lanes, and Killer's trying to stay out of range of RC. Does manage to take J-Heart with him, but RC remains alive, and they'll be able to push up the right side. Peaky Penguins have to win the mid fight before they can start thinking about the safe. But with remaining 7, sort of staggered, constantly moving out of spawn with a whole lot of health and a whole lot of speed, it's going to be difficult for them to get some of those shots in on the safe.
Nice combo play onto Sam, though. Luffy also falling down. Peaky Penguins have their first offensive opportunity here. RC falling back to play defense against Zeus. And not necessarily winning the fight. The Peaky Penguins able to hit the safe up top. Just about 13%. That said, R7, 40 already done.
Zeus on the back right, I mean, he went from 80 health to full healed because Peaky Penguins either weren't able to reach back there or just decided it wasn't even worth the effort to try and get Shelly out of that back right corner. Now they have a lot of damage to make up. We'll get some good damage in with the Brock, but still they're being pushed back by Killer's constant aggression, now combined with the effects of Zeus as they look for the final bit of damage on the safe. 3,000 left, and it's gone in the blink of an eye. Remaining 7, take game 1.
Nicely played there from R7, just clocking in and clocking out pretty much that entire early and mid game, just oppressive gameplay. Just walking forward, beep, beep, hitting the buttons. Remaining 7 really spent, or excuse me, Peaky Penguins spent a lot of time just trying to find their way outside of that underneath the thumb. Brock getting a kill to start off is a great look for Peaky Penguins. It's certainly a different feeling than last game, but it's still R7, the first one's on the safe.
And when we do finally see a response from Peaky Penguins, J-Heart's going to have to be pretty wise about how he responds on the left side. Maybe even trying to stay out of range of Killer. He knows he's just not going to win that fight. Lets RC do the dirty work and try and take care of the tanks on the back lines. If RC is able to pin him back here, that could be a good situation. Here comes a super. Bit of damage from Killer, the silence from RC. But he's left low and vulnerable on the left. Luffy's able to swing in. Same with Zeus. Mitsuha has to come all the way back to the safe and defend to deal with this. This is really the disadvantage that Peaky Penguins have here, is that they have to back all the way up every time remaining 7 get a decent coordinated push. And then they stay there for a while before they can win things back to mid. And with this sort of square of obstacles on the back right, it's also going to be tough to flush some of these tanky brawlers out of there. But J-Heart's in position, can get some damage on the safe, while RC and Mitsuha take care of things on defense. Still not able to supersede the amount the remaining 7 have dealt so far.
Little over a minute to go. Remaining 7 with a lead, but a slight one this time around. Very different from game number 1. Although Caster's Curse, as soon as I say that, Killer lights up the safe. 20% remaining here. And Luffy and Zeus making it 0. Remaining 7 win the set like that and move on.
Well done for remaining 7. I mean, once again, I think this one was won in the draft. When it comes down to the comp from the Peaky Penguins, they thought that they were coming into a long-range game, but you can't bring a sharpshooter to a tank fight. And this is something I think a lot of the opponents of remaining 7 have learned in the past the hard way. Once again, they just bring tanks and they do really, really well with it. Sure. And anytime they switch up their strategy, yeah, that's just because they have to. This is what they are good at. And also, newsflash, this is what's kind of good in the game right now. They're drafting really, really well, and they're thinking a step ahead of the Peaky Penguins.
Certainly showed out here in our second set, third set on the horizon. And remaining 7, like I said, this one looked easy. Knockout was a little bit of back and forth. I think R7 was definitely the better team on the field, but Peaky Penguins were able to answer back. Watching this team, you know, Peaky Penguins had their moments. J-Heart was kind of leading, Nat was kind of falling in, and when they were able to kind of leapfrog the composition disadvantage they gave themselves, we actually saw some good plays. Here, this seemed much more dominant, besides the crazy amounts of DPS on the side of Peaky Penguins. 400? Bro, sorry, you didn't win.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at this at a glance and say, oh my gosh, no help over here. But first of all, that's what happens when you play Otis into tanks. And second of all, this is one of those situations where remaining 7, they just kind of like won with the brains over brawn. They pick the good stuff. And I guess, honestly, ironically, the paradox of that is that they picked the brawnier brawlers and managed to win with that. So just run it down. This is what they're good at. Peaky Penguins, they're sort of playing catch up at the moment, but they only have one more set left to really prove that, lest they let that go to the opposing side and say goodbye in 3 rounds.
Gem grab, Hard Rock Mine. A new day here. Maybe we find a victory for the Peaky Penguins. You think we see any Jackie?
Nah.
No.
Sorry, just gonna shut you down right there. Yeah, no shot. No shot. We see the.
No, that's fine.
I'm a little surprised you don't see the Ash ban versus remaining 7.
That's fair.
So
actually, that's real. I was memeing because you saw Jackie's stuff, but like no Jackie.
Okay, sure.
But that's real. We'll hit the real analysis for sure. Shout out to production as well. These brawler win rates are definitely a lot of fun to take a look at. Squeak wins 80% of the time, every time. And here he is, first pick for Peaky Penguins.
I like the Squeak selection from Peaky Penguins. You kind of can't go wrong with the dude. I think if anything, remaining 7 could like out-mechanic it possibly with a pretty quick brawler, but besides that, very safe selection, absolutely first pick worthy. Time for remaining 7 to respond. I think a huge advantage for remaining 7 here being that, yes, they are good tank players, especially Killer, and that also they had that last pick. Now with the Gene selection, I'm beginning to think, okay, maybe Killer is like going to be a flex player this time. It says Zeus, but they can of course always switch up some of those brawlers. Second pick for remaining 7 coming through. What do they pair up with the Gene?
So Gene has largely fallen out of favor. Historically, Gene was kind of like the go-to character for a lot of situations, and as of late, Jean has fallen off in lieu of other brawler selections. Now, if you ask around the league and various smart people and Trav, they'll tell you that, like, it's a lot has to do with new brawlers coming out with deployables that kind of mess up the Jean grab.
Yes.
So now that we're coming full circle and people kind of forgot about Jean and we're picking Jean back up, which is a real part of meta, actually real, because I forgot. That's tough to play against. As Peaky Penguins, do you prioritize deployable characters?
It should definitely be something in the back of their head. I think they should be thinking about what mid they want against Jean, because Jean's 100% the mid here. I personally like the 8-bit, but it has been banned for the opposing side, so I think it's kind of clear from the outset that remaining 7 did want the Jean. 8-bit's great against the Jean because he has, I guess, better damage at range. You're still going to get chipped away, but the big thing is that 8-bit has that cheat cartridge, has the teleport back to the deployable, and avoids any kind of pull. So it's all about avoiding the pull, have some kind of movement, have some kind of deployable. Ruffs is, I think, going to be a great way to react to this. You have some sandbags you can throw down, but I think more than anything, that is a response to Stu. I think J-Heart will get some good damage locked in versus Zeus at mid. Overall, I like the Peaky Penguins strategy here. I think remaining 7 still have a lot of room where they can get creative with the last pick. The Sam is, I think, going to be just wonderful for dealing with this. I think Peaky Penguins kind of expected this, though.
I think the Sam just kind of respectfully, okay? Respectfully. The Sam just kind of walked over the Penguins last game or last set. And I think R7 noticed that. We're like, all right, let's just noob stomp. Let's do it. Put on the knuckle dusters and let's go. I think that's really kind of what this Sam selection is. You know, it fits into the composition. Sure, we can do a lot of analysis around that, but I think ultimately Sam's just here to step on people.
That's all he's here for. I mean, if he comes up the right lane, which I'm sure is the plan, no, actually around the left side, maybe trying to catch some of the lane switches off guard. We'll be able to punch right through RC. Here it comes. No Seagar there with the gadget, but still able to walk right through. This is what I'm talking about. The infinite healing, the Hard Rock Mine spawn trap could already be in full force. A little takedown for RC, though, as things start to move back up. Got to see maybe some wall break around some of these lanes to help deal with the lanes rushing in. Luffy's also being particularly elusive. Nice pull there from Zeus and a takedown from Killer. Luffy also just running over everyone, leaving some tire marks, a souvenir to take home. Remaining 7 are going wild.
Yeah, you got the Stu and the Sam. Both of these are real swag picks. Just look at me, I'm better is really what R7 is saying here. Strong stuff coming out in the third set. 8-0 for remaining 7, and Peaky Penguins had a lot of fun watching these guys kind of step up. Remaining 7, definitely the more solidified team. And then just R7, like I said, they were tested in knockout a little bit. But then here in the last set,
Youch.
R7 just, I want to say taking off the gloves, but they literally picked Sam. So the gloves are on.
I think Sam, literally one of his voice lines is that the gloves are off, so the gloves are most definitely 110% off, and he throws off the gloves too. So we'll see. We'll see what Sam's able to do.
The gloves are off.
The gloves are off. I want to see the appropriate lane switch from Peaky Penguins this time. They're going to run RC up the left side. I think that could be what they want. JR might be able to make some big moves on the same lane too, but Killer gets to walk right through him. Still a trade this time. A better start than the last game for the Peaky Penguins, but it's match point, and already remaining 7 are leading with 4 gems to nothing.
Nice kill on the right-hand side as Luffy falls down, but Killer just turbo stomping every which way. Showing up here. Where you going, Gus? Oh, this is actually a nice look. Just kidding. Up top, J-Heart dealing with Zeus. Falls down. A moment for Peaky Penguins. They're answering back, but a trade out for Luffy. R7's gems on the floor, though. Big moment. RC on the left-hand side. Picking up a couple of gems here, so it's 5-3. Peaky Penguins already more interactive this game than last time. Mitsuha also coming through in the clutch here already. Finding these shots and delivering.
Finding these shots is about the most he can do. Here comes a big pull. Zeus gets the takedown. J-Heart, unfortunately, out of range. Luffy, despite being slowed down on the left side, is still able to power through this. RC trying to throw down some suppressing fire. Killer now in the bushes. This is a dire situation. Takedown, and Killer goes right on through. He's going to lurk it. Spawn recover some of those knuckle busters too, and try and trap J-Heart up on the left side. It's an Omega pinch, and Luffy's just trying to pick up the last few pieces. Takedown onto RC. Zeus running back with 10, but Mitsuya might be able to get some damage. Luffy does fall. Zeus on the high health in the back lines. J-Heart still trying to close in around the right, but Killer approaches in close range. RC getting pulled, doesn't even get to throw down the super, and Zeus absolutely unscathed. Remaining 7 are going on to the grand finals.
Nicely done there by the R7 roster. Pinky Penguins show up. They have some good moves, I think, again, specifically looking towards the early parts of the match. That knockout back and forth was a lot of fun. J-Heart had some really big moments. Nat played the Sprout nicely in that first set. And then as things continued, things just tilted more and more in remaining 7's favor until ultimately Zeus came down from the heavens and took the victory. And as a reward, remaining 7 get to play against Chazmac Gaming, the hottest they've ever been in the grand finals.
Yeah, enjoy your prize, or is it really a punishment? Well, if anything, they win some more money by getting onto that stage, and they'll win some more points, so Yeah, I mean, you can look at this at a glance and say, oh my gosh, no help over here. But first of all, that's what happens when you play Otis into tanks. And second of all, this is one of those situations where remaining 7, they just kind of like won with the brains over brawn. They pick the good stuff. And I guess, honestly, ironically, the paradox of that is that they picked the brawnier brawlers and managed to win with that. So just run it down. This is what they're good at. Peaky Penguins, they're sort of playing catch up at the moment, but they only have one more set. Left to really prove that, unless they let that go to the opposing side and say goodbye in 3 rounds.
Gem grab, Hard Rock Mine. A new day here. Maybe we find a victory for the Peaky Penguins. You think we see any Jackie?
Nah.
No.
Sorry, just gonna shut you down right there. Yeah, no shot. No shot. We see the.
No, that's fine.
I'm a little surprised you don't see the Ash ban versus remaining 7.
That's fair.
So
Actually,
we'll see
that's real. I was memeing because you saw Jackie's stuff, but like. The victory for the Peaky Penguins. I absolutely have got to agree here. You think we see these boys have certainly put up a lot to get things done.
Sorry, just gonna shut you down right there.
Yeah, that's going to be the narrative for me. Remaining 7 though, Luffy, Killer, and Zeus. As we said, Zeus, one of the players that one of the more notable newer players on the scene, or at least on the BSC scene for my money. A lot of players kind of talking about him and his squad and what they've been able to do here. Remaining 7, a new name, but an interesting roster for sure, Kenny. What is your overall takeaway about R7 here?
I think R7 are really good. We just haven't quite seen them hit that ceiling that both CMG and Tribe had. Again, last month, they did not have the best start. It was a 3-0 loss to Tribe. We ended up just, I think this team deserves a lot of respect, and I think Ready Set did a good job of illustrating that too. Again, fresh faces, at least a little newer, somebody like Zeus, somebody this year who's been phenomenal to watch. These guys, again, have beaten Chasmic Gaming at one point this year. Can't rule them out completely. It's just hard to unsee what CMG have done recently.
It absolutely is, but here we're jumping in to the grand finals match. Listen, 76% of the fans are going with CMG. I'll be a little spicy here. Chasmac Gaming are those guys. I'm predicting a clean sweep. I'll see you soon after the finals.
I respect it. I mean, I think all 3 of us are clearly on the CMG side, Ready, and I think rightfully so. I think they've more than earned being the favorites in this spot, especially considering what they've done recently. 2 monthly grand finals wins in a row, and now they're taking on a foe that's already beaten them once this year. I'm sure Chasmic Gaming wants this badly, but this is a desperation kind of play for remaining 7, who are 3rd on the leaderboard right now. This is the second to last grand finals we have. They need a win here.
I'll tell you what, I think remaining 7, if I'm remaining 7, I'm not scrimming any of the maps versus Peaky Penguins. That's because they got to put all of their chips in to deal with Chasmac Gaming NA, who had to scrim maps versus Tribe Gaming, number 2 in the region. So I think it's a much harder bracket for Chasmac Gaming NA, right? All respect due. Some more time, some more points that they can invest into this final match. So we'll see if and how that preparation pays off. So far with the draft developing, Maisie already being selected on the opposing side. I love the Maisie brawler. She can charge up that super fast, and she's effective for dealing with tanks. I think it's wise for them to take that out of Chasmac Gaming's playbook. Still plenty of other things that Chasmac could decide to go with, but since remaining 7 do have the last pick, it affords them the possibility of a tank for number 6.
The Macy's an interesting one. I had a conversation about this with Ark a little bit earlier. I've had mixed reviews from pro players that I've talked to. In general, she's certainly in a stronger spot. And I think one thing I pointed out to Ark earlier is even though her win rate hasn't necessarily shown through, very small sample size. And also, I think out of all game modes, Brawl Ball makes the most sense for opportunities to score. The bounce back that her super can bring, I think is really valuable. If you play her right, I think it can go your way. But El Primo, good old fun brawler, one that I think's really shown through more recently in the meta, especially in regions like EMEA where his play rate is very high. I'm excited for the CMG side.
This is what I always say. He's a tank that kills tanks. And also with crash landing right on top of Maisie, he'll be able to basically nullify that super. It takes a moment for that super to charge up before it takes full effect. And I think that Fade or RBM, whoever really ends up playing that Primo, will be able to take things down. Ashe, theoretically, a brawler that can take down the Primo as long as you stay at appropriate range. It's going to have to be pretty surgical gameplay. If anyone's cut out for it, it's going to be Killer. So really, who wins? Killer, the Ashe main, or Primo just being Primo?
Surgical is a great word for that, because if Primo is jumping in, if he's fist pumping against the Ashe, very difficult for Ashe. But again, Ashe has the extra distance. It may be tiny, but those little interactions go much further in a professional setting. Overall, we see a Maisie, we see a Squeak, we see an Ashe. I think Maisie is somebody that people aren't going to be used to seeing, but I think I can see where they're coming from. Do love the selection of at least Zeus's Squeak for the ability to cut off the map, especially when there's no real wall break threat outside of El Primo here. I think it's going to pave the way for remaining 7 to kind of get a hot start here. Killer with the ball in hand, Fade, Toast, RBM trying to branch out a little bit. Killer going to dump this off for now. He's just hugging this wall, not moving. And El Primo slowly going to be charging that super. Dive in from Toast, and now possibly a breakaway here. They need to be careful. Sprinting back, RBM now diving forward as well. It's going to bounce Zeus away long enough, I think, where Toast is just going to have a wide open bucket. Goodness, what a way to start for CMG.
Of all moments, you'd want to have that second Squeak star power. That's one of them. He landed one of those super shots on a Toast in the Bonnie form, but didn't slow him down. He's running the one that gives him more damage. One of the ones that has propelled Squeak to the forefront of the meta right now. Good response from Luffy on the backside and a takedown to RBM. It's all up to Toast and Fade now to play defense. Toast has a whole lot of health to work with, and he's got to be close to that super. Just a couple more shots. Here's the bump away from Luffy. 1-2 super cycled. RBM has a super and a gadget in hand. Makes him a great defender, but an excellent response. Both Luffy and Killer chiming in to take him down without a single scratch on themselves. Remaining 7 now, fully tied up versus Chazmac.
Really great plays and a big response there. Toast, though, looking for one of his own to dive in from RBM as well. 2 brawlers flying through the skies now. Fade, ball in hand. RBM charging forward. Low HP. Zeus drops the super. No connection there. Easy walk in for RBM. Chazmac Gaming starting off hot here in game number 1.
Wonderfully done. I've got to hand a lot of that to the El Primo. Just a wonderful job on the Primo, getting some of the flying elbow drops down, getting some of the walls broken open too. Seems like it was a bit too tough for the Ashe to deal with now, but they did manage to get 1 goal off, and we saw some good teamwork leading to that goal from remaining 7, so they can probably do it again. Luffy also managed to get some super cycled out, but Killer's in very close quarters with RBM. RBM likely close to the super when he respawns. Zeus also pass over to the left side. Great avoidance there from Killer. The rats come down too, and RBM has that super fully charged up. Remaining 7 can get some damage on him, but it's almost unlikely that they eliminate him when he has that super damage.
Bounce in from RBM, make it 2. Easy pickup there onto Killer. Low HP though, 1 shot from Luffy could put him away for now. Both sides, remaining 7, no HP. Fade slowly dwindling the HP of Squeak, and now RBM, very aggressive footing here. Just gonna take this ball in his hand, and with 9,000 HP, gonna be looking for an opportunity to walk it forward. Stand still for now. Contention at this midfield marker as both sides are just looking to get an inch forward. No opportunity here unless some kills go down.
RBM really encroaching on Killer's territory on the left side. Zeus also trying to zone things out. Toast has that super in. Once someone gets low, Zeus and Luffy are the prime targets. Killer can also be taken down with a jump. Fade also has that jump at the ready. Just gonna get some easy chip shots off for now. A little slowing action towards mid gives Luffy a good opportunity. Jump in from RBM, a little suplex supplement there too. A jump in from Toast, and it's a double elimination. RBM and Toast still remain alive, and Zeus manages to push this ball back, but RBM looks like he has the kill shot. He's able to break open the wall. Doesn't even need to use it though, preserves it for the next pitch. An easy walk in, and a goal on the board for Chazmac.
Wonderfully played. Fade actually going to exhaust a super there just to get across the wall, looking to get in a more aggressive stance and have to back away immediately, but RBM certainly going to make whoop for it from the other side. Two brawlers now standing on each end. A big takedown there, a squeak super, only connecting one time, a regular shot as well. RBM 2200, killer forced to play defense. Now RBM charging forward, gets the shot through. RBM with the goal, and Chasmic Gaming takes set number 1.
Well, the elbow drop of Justice comes down. RBM, what a menace on that El Primo. Just can't seem to be beaten. I'm realizing why it's so popular in EU. We've seen our fair share in NA, but it's about time that we see a little bit more, maybe a little bit more in the ban phase, because he's proving to be quite fearsome. 2-0 for Chasmic, despite the best efforts of remaining 7. They even got a goal off. I mean, I thought they looked pretty good there, but Chasmic, they just look that much better.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to top the mechanics of Chasmic Gaming right now. I think I respect remaining 7, trying something a little different. It is a brawler that, at least in the scrimmages that I've seen, they have been one that have been more keen to test the Maisie out, especially in game modes like this. I see it. I don't think it worked out necessarily the way they would have wanted to, and I think the El Primo interaction with Ash certainly didn't go remaining 7's way that time. Again, you put it fast, had to be surgical. Otherwise, the tank of tank counters is going to win at the end of the day, and I think RBM's as good as it gets in the tank category. So, I mean, CMG, well-rounded, everybody doing their part. It's exactly what we've seen from them the last 3 months, and no exception here in set number 1 of our grand finals.
You say well-rounded, I think that's an important thing to point out, because they got RBM and Fade in at the exact same time and at separate points. I mean, we sort of entered the year with this being the merger between Vatra and the CMG teams of last year. Fade being Team Tank at that point, and RBM also being Team Tank. Now they're on the same 4-man roster, but they're still able to specialize. Fade gets it done on the Crow. We even saw some interesting play there with an early super up to the right side to get early control here on Pinball Dreams. RBM, though, really does lay down the hammer. 8 kills on his side, a whole lot of DPS, but mostly I'm keeping those goals in recent memory.
Yeah, agreed. 8 kills, phenomenal work, DPS to go around. I mean, again, everybody has a very different role, especially with the brawler selection that Chasmic Gaming has. I think it's what makes this team very special. Throughout the entire year, we've seen all 4 brawlers on their side get some action. One Carlos from the sidelines right now, but has been a huge part of this team. It's one of my favorite things to see. Love seeing these 4-man rosters kind of swap in and out, specialties going through. They keep in mind what brawlers everybody's best at, and I think that ultimately has allowed them to just excel. Over on Dueling Beetles, seems like they're going to be going with the same 3 that they've run all day. Somebody I'm keeping my eye out for, though, Cordelius. He's been a man to talk about this weekend, especially when you take people into the Shadow Realm. Very scary proposition there. This is a map that's not necessarily long range in the mid, so it could be a little bit better for him, but of course, he's just going to get hit with the ban.
Yeah, and even, well, of course, Chasmic Gaming, very wise of them to ban this against the team with the first pick. Remaining 7 not going to get the last pick for once. They'll go with B as their primary selection. That's going to nullify a lot of some of the strong brawlers that Chasmic can go with as their last pick. Bell, I think, an appropriate response from Chasmic. They're going to be able to work around the B. It's just going to be tough. She sort of controls a lot of the meta here in NA. Obviously, Poco not going to be as strong of a consideration now since he gets sort of hard countered by B. But as long as Chasmic decide they're going to play the range game, but also do a good job of countering out those tanks, I think they're setting themselves up for success.
Curious to see what approach they take here. Crow's somebody that normally in this map I get very enthusiastic about seeing, but the only brawler I see on the other side right now is B, and I think B can actually deal with Crow pretty well. You know, the amount of damage that B can deal, being a sharpshooter, typically Crow doesn't have as easy of a time to that, but they could very well have other brawlers that Crow goes into. So I think that's a brawler that does well for Hot Zone. It's one I'm going to be patient on, see if they can find some matchups, but something like a Spike here could do well into Crow. I'm curious to see if we end up seeing a Barley here from either side. It's somebody that I've seen surge more and more on this map, especially if there's no wall break option. I think Barley can be a very scary choice here. Stu makes me a little nervous to go that route if you're Chasmic Gaming, but again, it's somebody that can kind of hide behind those constructor walls, lob up shots in the D, and single shot brawlers just can't do well in the Barley. So kind of keeping my eyes out for that route.
Yeah, he will be able to break down some of those walls, so it won't be as large of a consideration for Chazmac. I spoke about the Poco earlier, and I think Chazmac sensed that remaining 7 could have gone for that, so they go with the Crow selection. Fade also is a phenomenal Crow, so why not? But also prevent that Poco from going to the side of remaining 7. Final selection now coming in from remaining 7. Jesse is what they're going to decide to go with. This can be a pretty tricky brawler to play against if you decide to go with like spawnables or something like that. Particularly Pam can be a troublesome one. And also, she'll be able to throw that turret over walls, get some serious damage done. It can also make it really difficult for you to fire around the walls. Barley's going to have no issue dealing with that turret, though. Here's the pick from Chazmac into Killer's Stew. We talked about this. What are you thinking, Kenny?
I like the Barley selection. I think it makes a lot of sense. You gotta watch out for the stun that Jesse's turret can have, but if he's hiding behind the wall, you can't really shoot him. Of course, there are indestructible walls to take in consideration. If Stu elects to go for that wall break, makes things a little more difficult. I kind of see the vision for both sides, though. This is an instance where I don't think there's a clear-cut winner of the draft. I think it's gonna be a lot about how you play it. Jesse came to mind when I threw you that toss. I just think that Jesse is somebody right now that we've seen a bunch in EMEA, clearly a brawler that has kind of escalated in play rate, and remaining 7, if history serves correct, are a team that don't mind delving into these brawlers that are a little less popular. But I think Jesse's at a moment right now where it's not out of the question to take her, especially with these indestructible walls and what her turret can do.
Yeah, I just wonder whether remaining 7 were really expecting the Barley here. They are keeping Killer away from Fade, so that's definitely a good shout for now. Trying to play the lane versus Toast, but Killer's outranged. Some good shots in from Toast, but they're not going to make contact with Killer. And the point control belongs to Chazmac Gaming for now. Fade's already popped off his first Herbal Tonic, and Zeus taking one out of the East Asia playbook. At least we saw that earlier this weekend. With the Rattled Hive coming in, not going to get any damage there, but it does afford them some area control. A good takedown now with a response from Fade. Last call in, Toast possibly falling to Luffy. A little trade here, but Toast remains alive. RBM also with the takedown, and Chazmac Gaming have lockdown control amid.
That Rattled Hive just deleted the other side. Crazy stuff here, now going for a wall break here as well. Just trying to open up this map. That's something that B won't mind at all. Luffy at least has a little more opportunity to navigate here, slide in his supers, go in and out. Jesse, more of a mid-range brawler, so kind of neutral in that sense, but nonetheless, Barley just sitting back, relaxing, throwing up shots, trying to gain some area control for his teammate. RBM throwing the daggers down, Toast keeping the distance, a little surprise turret coming in there now, and they delete it instantly, so no real value gained there for remaining 7. All in all, it's still CMG with complete control already.
Certainly is. Remaining 7 could kind of come back, though. The big slow doesn't really do too much with RBM jumping in. Killer taking down the left and a last call down. Luffy dangerously low on health. He'll have some time to heal this up, but they really only have time for one more push as we're crossing that margin of no return. 90% in counting for Chazmac Gaming NA. Remaining 7 try to come in for the final push. Killer falls. Luffy gets one takedown, but that's all he'll get. Chazmac Gaming win the game with only 16% going over to the other side.
That's a tough one if you're remaining 7. I mean, such a strong showing from CMG. They've won 2 grand finals in a row for this region. That's something that's very difficult to do. They might just tack on a 3rd here. Obviously, we don't want to speak too soon. Remaining 7, a great team, but it's just so convincing when you see Chazmac Gaming month after month now pile on these big wins, and they did so just now against a very strong squad, the 3rd place team in this region, and they did it in such dominant fashion. Remaining 7 gonna have to really step it up here, find themselves in a better spot, and not let CMG run away with it here early ready.
Well, Chazmac Gaming NA already building this up to nearly 20%. Little response here from remaining 7. Rattled Hive coming out. Not going to make any contact. Create a little bit of space for them, though. That'll be certainly advantageous. A little slowing action as well into RBM. He's not planning on coming out until someone's kind of low, though. Or at least a tag. Luffy slows him down, and Fade comes down with a hammer. A good takedown there with all the bottles crashing down. Some decent damage from Zeus, too, but he's the last one remaining. He's got to stay alive and healthy to combine with his team and form a new push as they all respawn. Final gadget coming out as well. Another super from Fade to block off the left side. This is so much control coming out from Chazmac. I just don't know where all these supers are coming from for Fade. It seems like he's popping them off left, right, and center.
And Toast hasn't really been missing on this left-hand side either. Fade now in prime positioning. They're going to have to get a Stu wall break if they even want a chance into somebody like Barley. Zeus slides a couple good shots through. It doesn't matter, though. Herbal Tonic, another tag here for Toast. These fellas can do no wrong. 80% now in climbing. Remaining 7 have yet to climb out of spawn.
Remaining 7 pretty much locked into their own spawn, and it looks like Beast sort of throwing in the towel now. RBM Fade barely moving. They already know that they have this one locked in, and RBM ends the game midair. A little celebration, but it's not over yet. Or is it? I mean, the mental on the opposing side didn't look too great. CMG locked them into their own spawn for the last half of that last game. Just devastating stuff, and CMG look a little indomitable right now.
It's unbelievable. I mean, this is a region where there's been chaos all year round. I mean, coming into today, this was one of the sub-regions. Nobody could claim an LCQ or a world spot just because of how close it has been throughout the entire year. CMG changing that narrative entirely right now. Remaining 7, of course, still not out yet. But after those 2 sets, I picked a 3-1 kind of setting here in favor of CMG. I don't know, man. I'm tempted to take that back. I mean, FDOT looking pretty on the money right now. Again, I can't illustrate it enough. I think CMG are a great team. Remaining 7, 3rd in this region. But the top dogs right now are looking unmatched. It's really awesome to kind of see them take this form. It's been a long, steady grind for these guys, but second half CMG this year, whew, that's a team I don't want to face.
Hey, I mean, look, if you're top 2, that means you're consistently making it to the grand finals. And if you're 3rd place, that means that you're consistently making it to the top 4, and you might have made the grand finals a few times. And that's precisely what it is for Remaining 7. Chazmat Gaming, they seem to be simply a cut above, and even above Tribe Gaming right now is really the most jarring thing. The stats also tell a similar story. Just a total sweep here for Chazmat Gaming in that last draft. I think this was a brilliant one, having that Barley into the Jesse. I think you saw coming from miles away, but Remaining 7 got caught a little off guard. It's pit stop time. Yet another Barley map that I don't think Remaining 7 will be caught lacking in the ban phase.
Yeah, I think Barley a good shout here again. I think this is a map that both of these teams could very likely just looking to commit to aggression. These are 2 teams that can rock the tanks. We know what RPM can do, but Remaining 7 have several great brawlers that can absolutely thrive here, especially in a more aggressive setting. Pit Stop is just one of those maps where just about anything goes. You mentioned Barley. There are throwers that can work with here. Dynamite, the highest win rate brawler. That doesn't happen too often, but it makes my heart very happy that good old Michael is on the top of the leaderboards here, and another thrower very similarly there. BB, though, a good shout from the win rates here from our monthly qualifiers across the world. It's somebody that doesn't show up on a lot of maps, but this is certainly one of them.
No, well, she just shows up, swings her bat, and, you know, hangs up the bat, calls it a day. This is a great brawler for a base race. If you know you can out DPS your opponents, and you also get to smack things back repeatedly. Need a selection on the opposing side, definitely like it, versus the M's could be a little bit more difficult until you get that bear up. That's the thing. As long as you're able to outrange Nia, you can keep her pinned there, but she'll have effectively more range if she's able to get close up to you. That's what the Max is for. I'm not so certain whether I like, though. Like, don't get me wrong, Max, a brawler that I love to watch. You get to accelerate the gameplay quite literally, but Max, she's really fallen off lately. She basically has a pea shooter for her gun, and that speed, while it is still useful, it takes a while to get.
Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of had a puzzled look on my face off screen. Max is somebody that I appreciate seeing as well. Very fun for the game. Historic brawler. And when I think of Brawl Stars, it's one of the first brawlers that I think of, especially for the esport. But it's not nearly as strong as it used to be. This isn't necessarily the game mode that caters to Max as well. Love the Max energy speed that she can bring, but I would much rather go with the approach of high damage, high aggression. So we're going to take a Daryl here, Spike again, one of those very safe approaches. Maybe can use the life plant here to gain some extra HP, but high DPS for all 3 brawlers here from CMG. So I think they have options, and I don't think Max is necessarily going to be a big factor in terms of high safe damage. I think Max is just kind of there to defend or give that power up to teammates. So Zeus, and if Killer, assuming plays this brawler, gonna have to really allow for his teammates to thrive. And well, Dynamite is somebody that can do a lot of damage.
It's Michael, by the way. You got it correct earlier, but yeah, I mean, we got to straighten this out, Ken. Yeah, that's Michael right there. Call him by the appropriate name, and he's got some pretty good win right here, so I think he's deserved the respect.
I was hoping me and Michael were on first name basis, so I called him Dynamite. That's my apologies. Did not mean to disrespect the great Michael, but I think this is actually going to be an interesting one, because going into somebody like Spike and Ams, that's great. But if Fade, or presuming RBM ends up playing this brawler, rolls up on you, not a very fun time for Max. or Dynamite. So interesting to see how this one plays out. Certainly options for both sides. Excited to see Michael touch down in the field as always, though.
All right, let's see what Luffy's able to accomplish. On the right side, has a pretty decent advantage versus a Spike, able to fire over the walls. No damage just yet onto Toast. He's got some pretty slick dodges on the left side, though. RBM, bit of a whiffed roll, and still be able to recover. In the meantime, though, Killer has farmed up that super. Luffy all the way damage boosted, devastating damage now connecting with the safe. Only 81% and counting down remain, as the remaining 7 have yet to take their first damage. Toast now approaching the left side. Luffy's kind of thinking about residing at mid, still trying to get some damage in here, making sure that he stays in the mid area in case he needs to play defense. But so far, really good stuff from remaining 7 when it comes to defending RBM. Also, yeah, interesting phase shifter in there. He's going to get some good damage locked in. Fade still staying on top of that safe. But Luffy is really the ticking time bomb for Chazmac Gaming NA. They got to speed up some of this defense or accelerate the offense. And it looks like it might be a little too late. A takedown and remaining 7 take the game.
I can't help but smile and laugh a little bit. I mean, I don't think Dynamite moved there for a solid 30 seconds. Just slowly recharging his attack and just one little stick of Dynamite at a time, and it was enough. I mean, an interesting thought experiment. They had a slight lead, but CMG just committed. We said all 3 brawlers are going across, and I think credit to remaining 7 there for playing a successful enough defense, especially against all 3 of these guys from CMG who can dish out an insane amount of high safe damage. I think kudos to them. Stuck to their guns, called their shot, got them a good win here, in large part due to the big shots coming in from Dynamite.
It's so interesting to see the base race emerge so much recently, because it seems like it just sort of started kicking up a lot this month, or maybe a little bit last month. Maybe the impatience meta is what it's all about right now. Luffy's going to get taken down. No more sticks of dynamite on the safe for you. And RBM now has to play tag. Killer trying to catch up. Will be able to get some damage on him, but RBM still locks in a lot along the way. 73% remain on remaining 7 safe. The Killer has the super. Should be a little bit troublesome for Fade. He would rather put it on top of that safe to minimize the damage that it takes as it makes its way to the target. Luffy on the right side also looking for big damage versus Fade. Bit of a misprediction as to where Fade was going to move. And on the left side, this is the one person to defend versus both RBM and Toast. They're going to get to sit right on top of this safe. This is huge for CMG. Look how much damage Toast is able to do as he shreds through the safe.
I can hear Bruce the Bear for a moment there on the other side, I'm pretty sure too. So Killer putting in some serious work. Dynamite is just ever present here, still remaining on the other side. RBM with a little breakaway here. Killer though just committing to damage. 28% though. It's a small lead for CMG. Once again, split cameras here as both sides are dishing out the damage. RBM only needs a few more shots. A shutdown from Zeus though. It's going to take a lot here, but it could be the possibility. Still alive. And now Toast gonna be creeping up, trying to get those last few percentage points here for CMG.
And it's being real sneaky, but Luffy started to pin him in that corner. Fade now coming around from the left side to pinch him in. Lots and lots of damage on that safe, but the final connection comes with the last roll in from RBM. It's a game going to CMG, and we approach match point.
CMG 1 away from sweeping the 3rd team in this region. They've been crazy to watch. The plays from them have been unbelievable. And in game number 1, remaining 7, awesome strategy, good engagement with the high safe. I mean, again, Dynamite just sat pretty, trusted the teammates to play defense, and it worked out. Not as much in game number 2. CMG now 1 away from continuing their dominant NA East performance.
So far, so good on the defense for remaining 7. I want to see Zeus get a super to make some real stuff happen. Speed and Killer, maybe get a super off of RBM. He's got to be close to his own super now. Luffy, once again, left to have free reign over the opposing safe. Now the offense in. Fade, RBM, Toast, all making contact with the safe. The destruction of Zeus, and now Killer. The threat respawning on the right side with the takedown onto RBM. But still, remaining 7 boasts the advantage. Luffy largely left alone on the right side. Now trying to play some footsies, a little ring around the rosy game with Fade here. RBM's gonna maybe get the easy kill. Luffy now taken down. Killer on the right side with a super in hand, looks to defend against RBM. Might even be able to get another super here. A good takedown from Fade as Chazmac Gaming NA continue to push themselves up the map.
That was a major pickup for RBM. He played into Dynamite very well. That's a matchup that he should, in theory, win just about every time at that range. But Nita, not as easily, especially with the second brawler with the shield available to RBM sliding through as well. Committed to offense, though. Zeus forced to defend. Luffy lobbing up a shot down low. Can't quite do enough. The teammate will be there Now an opportunity. Remaining 7, still lurking. Killer low HP, regenerating. Luffy engaged on offense, throwing down shots. Super being flashed, waiting to use it though. RBM trying to close the gap. Stun goes down as well. Fade connects, is going to cost him his life though. Close call. 21% now. Remaining 7 have a possibility of continuing this.
Looks unlikely that they'll let Luffy through again. RBM with the super on the right side approaches Killer. Killer tries to throw down the dog, but it's not in enough time. It's an easy takedown for RBM onto the bear. With Luffy on the left side, receiving the speed, he won't be able to do much with it. Zeus also receiving a lot of suppressing fire. Comes rolling from RBM on the right side. Takedown to Killer. RBM, next target, locked. He tries to get on that safe, and even the super, rather the gadget comes in, but he wasn't able to make contact with any targets. This has got to be it though. The game-winning assault from Luffy. Lots of damage coming in. Remaining 7 need to lock it in. Just one more shot from Luffy could do the job if he's able to pop it off, and there it is. Remaining 7 take the set. No more match point for you. We're going to set 4.
All right, let's see what remaining 7 are made of. It's about time that a set went their way. Impressive stuff in set number 3. I think game number 1, they kept to their guns, like I said. They just let Dynamite do his thing, trusted in the teammates. I think that takes a lot, especially in a very base race meta, to kind of make that decision of calculating how much damage do I need, how much can I give away, and really good stuff from them. Again, this is a team that we've been impressed with this year. They haven't quite made the jump to grand finals champions like others in the region, like Tribe and CMG have. But they're starting to find it a little bit here. They've got a long way to go. CMG still very much the favorites in this situation, but at least their hopes are still alive. Set number 4 coming in soon.
Certainly so, but with set number 3 in recent memory, gotta examine kind of the win conditions here. I'm not really looking to the Max for doing the bulk of the work there. Primarily looking at the Nina, but especially the Dynamite. Luffy with that final stick of Dynamite coming in was absolutely huge. And this doesn't really reflect the amount of damage that was locked in on the save. It's primarily damage that was done towards enemy brawlers. And Chasmet Gaming managed to clear out the mid area repeatedly, earning their way to the opposing side. And really the only time that damage was dealt to their safe was when they ignored it and let Dynamite deal the damage. Clearly, base race, not the approach for them, but they came real close to winning.
A lot of credit to Zeus, too, who was on that Max and operating it. I think not something that I expected to have as many kills as it did, not something that I expected to be an X factor in the heist safe. We didn't see that necessarily, but certainly made up for it in its role in distributing the speed that Max's super brings, and also in the kill category there, stopping brawlers from CMG on defense. So big shout out to him. I think that was something that was definitely not easy. Again, Max, not the brawler that she used to be, but they made it work, and if it wins, hey, I can't discredit that. So credit where credit is due for sure. Set number 4, hopping over to Double Swoosh. Very interesting map, especially with Cordelius emerging, Shelly being so strong. There are a couple bans that you oftentimes have to use on those brawlers, and as a result, we get more options that maybe we didn't used to have on this map. What are some of those options you're maybe looking towards, Reddy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely expecting maybe some M's play here. You got to be acknowledging the possibility of Shelly getting banned here. There it is for remaining 7. They get rid of the Shelly Amber. Classic selection on this map. You play her up the bad side, as I've heard a lot of players call it. If you've ever played this map before in your ladder games, you'll know that right side is very difficult to fight. And the same goes for the pro players. Once you lose that right lane, then the mid brawler gets pinched a lot. As they say, win lane, win game. Afford some more space for your mid brawler, and Toast is going to be trying to accomplish that with the Amber up the right side most likely. Remaining 7 now trying to think of a way that they can make a deal on this right side without having to utilize those bushes. Cordelius, gravely left open, is maybe going to be a problem for Chasmat Gaming in A.
They're going to take advantage of the situation too, obviously grabbing it for their own. They didn't end up banning it, and CMG and crew didn't end up taking it. So clearly they prioritized the Amber a little bit more. Maybe it's with that first overall selection, they weren't willing to make the jump towards Cordelius. I think Cordelius in the Shadow Realm, especially if he's lurking, getting sneaky on this map, can find opportunities to kind of get closer to opponents. Because again, he may be really good when he's taking you with his super, but you have to get there somehow. Interesting pairing with this as well. Another appearance of Jessie here. This is a map where I think she can be operated in the mid. I think the Jessie turret can do quite well. I'm kind of curious to see how CMG respond to this, kind of opening to a draft that we're maybe not as used to seeing.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting from remaining 7. Though I do like the Jesse on this map. You can throw down the turret in a couple of really troublesome places. You can put it down at mid, for instance, but really around that indestructible on the right side of the map, it can pretty much guarantee that your opponents almost never come out of the bushes. So it could be a bit troublesome for Chasmac Gaming NA. They're going to have to think about ways that they clip the walls. Buster is an inventive way of dealing with this. I think they'll probably be running that up the left side and trying to snipe some enemy brawlers. Not at long range, but sort of gank them when they least expect it with the use of the gadget, suck them in and get some good value there. Sandy also. Now, this is a little interesting. Wonder where they were going to play this. Most likely in the mid, maybe? This is peculiar.
I think Sandy mid as well. I mean, it's something we saw a long time ago be a little more normal. That was back in the blind format days. You know, Rosa coming in as well. Yeah, we are getting some 2021 Brawl Stars vibes. Let's get it. Jesse in the mid, likely for the other side as well. Cordelius, little new flair of the brawler that we've gotten most recently in the game. Rosa's somebody I wouldn't have even thought of, but I think this is actually going to be a pretty solid choice. Sandy, of course, can put the enemies to sleep. You have to be a little careful, but once those resources are kind of used up, I think Rosa might be in the clear here, especially when you cycle in her super. Going against Buster, I'm not too worried about her if she can close that gap. Amber, somebody that can dish out a high amount of damage very quickly, but once she runs out of those shots, and Rosa, of course, being a very healthy, tanky brawler, I actually see where this can kind of work out for remaining 7. It's not the draft I'm expecting, but I am more than welcome to it.
Well, let's hope it pays off for them, because right now they really are backed into a corner by Chasmac. Just 2 losses and they're out. Killer coming in for a lot of damage, but no kills locked in just yet. Luffy also looking for massive value. Almost got the takedown to RBM. He's got that super at the ready, and it looks like he might have tried to pop it off versus Toast, but to no avail. Remaining 7 still at sort of a deficit when it comes to control, it looks like. At least numbers, but they're still able to run this down quite a bit. Luffy on the right side has that super preserved. Killer now in with the super. Almost a kill versus Fade. Here it comes, finishing things off. Getting the passive healing from being in the bush. The Sandstorm down as well from Sandy, but it doesn't earn them any control. All 6 of the 7 gems so far inside of remaining 7.
Killer is a real problem on this left-hand side. They put him to sleep, but he's got the super, so the shield remains. Another pickup for him as well. Popping off left-hand side. Surely Toast can get it done. Killer, no, prevails. He does it again. 8 gems now and counting for remaining 7. And even though they have the Sandy coverage from that Sandstorm, I don't think it's going to matter too much. On the right-hand side, Luffy's a threat. On the left, Killer just keeps cycling supers. Remaining 7, looking fierce here. CMG are going to have to find a resurgence if they don't want this set to get carried away from them.
Countdown active only for a moment for remaining 7. Here comes a super in from RBM. Fade trying to encroach on the right side. Toast also trying to approach. Got to be close to that super. Killer now in with the super. Here's a super from Toast. And the Rude Sands revealing the positions of the enemies. RBM taken down, but it's left open for Zeus to grab. Another takedown as well onto the blue gym carrier. And remaining 7 get to protect the gym carrier all the way in the back. Fade has a super to be able to push in just a little bit, reflecting some of the punches back to Killer, but it only lasts for so long as he gets in close quarters. A takedown, 3 seconds left. Luffy trying to defend down to the Shadow Realm for RBM, and remaining 7 take the game. No match point just yet.
I've got chills ready. I mean, this is insane. What a turnaround we've seen from remaining 7. Again, we've seen them beat Chasmac Gaming early on in the year. Very first month, I believe. But CMG are a different team. Remaining 7 looking like a different team as well. 2 teams that have clearly grown throughout our BSC season. Chasmac Gaming have been the talk of the town, deservingly so. A lot of credit due to them, but remaining 7 putting some respect on their name, putting some respect on this new organization they represent. A Killer going down early makes me nervous for them. A little Shadow Realm dive in for Luffy. Gets the kill here. Now return into action, but Toast can line up these easy shots. Luffy forced away with 10 HP. Doesn't have the range to match, and Fade gonna close that gap. 2-2 overall in the gym count. Close one here as remaining 7 looks to drag us to a 5th.
Rude Sands down. Killer taking chip damage. Toast remains alive. Fade tries to approach from the left. Has that rewind, but it's not enough to get Zeus trapped in the gadget. Luffy now from the right, still trying to force things over to the left side. A destruction of all of these bushes at mid. It's going to be kind of devastating for remaining 7. They still have a lot of speed to work with within these bushes. And on the right side, Fade is gradually trying to push things back. RBM really getting a lot of area control here, but it seems to be running out of ammo. Got to get that next super fired up pretty soon so we can fire the bushes on the right side. Maybe down to the Shadow Realm for someone. Fade now recovers, and Killer still in these bushes on the left side. Pops super, tries tries to go for Toast, is able to get the kill, but won't make it out alive. It doesn't look like. Still, a double kill is seriously a statement, but doesn't get them the advantage over Chazmac Gaming just yet. If anything, a tie once Zeus picks up this next gem.
Killer did more than his job, though. Going in, taking out 2 brawlers. Now a triple stun going down as well. Shield up for him, too. He's rushing to the other side. Fade can't move a muscle. Toast has to put Killer to sleep. Still throwing down punches. Toast forced up against his spawn side wall. And in the meantime, second time in a row now in a very quick interaction, Zeus can pick up all of these gems that are laying on the ground. Advantage remaining 7 now, and Killer just like that back in action.
Nice gadget there from Fade. It's going to be the last one that he gets, though. He's used all of the other ones already, but he can still sneak up around the right side and catch Luffy off guard. Big damage in. Luffy just barely manages to survive, but he has a super in hand. Could be a big deal. Remaining 7 are all the way forced out of mid. Next gem coming in for Toast. He'll start the countdown with Fade and RBM on the front lines. He's very, very safe, but a super could seriously lock in this win. Killer rushing forward, not going to be able to get too much room. Zeus still looking for damage. Could be a super inside, takedown onto Fade. Luffy needs to pick up this gem, but it's already in the hands of Chazmac Gaming, and no win for remaining 7. Toast safe with all 11 gems, and we're going to match point once again.
Another opportunity for Chazmac Gaming. The stakes are still high. We've seen maybe RBM and Juan Carlos crack a smile, but they've been pretty dialed in. These guys know how the business works. They're playing against another professional team, a top 3 team so far this year in NA. They have not celebrated early. They know they've still got to get the job done against a very solid roster on the other end. They've been putting up a much better fight since early on in this matchup as well. And again, very interesting start here. This time it's going to be Killer right-hand side. Toast low HP, forced to run away. The pulse shot connecting those, so that will force them out of the mid. Zeus creeping forward. Killer finally going down. Luffy with the ability to take him to the Shadow Realm, and exactly what he is going to do here. So it's going to allow for Zeus to 1v1 against Amber. So many kills going down for both sides. They're actually electing to just leave these gyms here in the meantime. Killer dying here. Fade marching up the map, picks up one of his own. Toast now rushing into the gyms as well. That's a stun going down. So much action unfolding here to kick off game number 3. Ultimately, though, it's going to lead into CMG's favor.
Killer on the left side is a known enemy with a known location. Still gonna try and press in versus Toast. Nice use of the stun. Still remains alive. Zeus also, being scouted out on the left, does have some vision. It's not gonna be enough for Killer to stay alive though. Luffy on the right also trying to suppress RBM. Will get some decent damage in here. In fact, locks in the kill, but Chazmac Gaming and Ace still lead by a decent margin. Here comes the turret, and these are the indestructibles I was talking about pre-game. It's gonna be difficult for Chazmac to safely come out of these bushes without taking constant chip damage. Now into the Shadow Realm. Toast and Fade both right for the picking, but still only Luffy is able to get the takedown. An easy one for Toast to pick up 2. Fade's able to snipe 1 gem, maybe another one around the left side. Still, these gems are going to be trading sides that they spawn on. Remaining 7 seriously at a deficit, however. Another turret coming down. RBM tries to get the pinch. Everyone also caught in this gadget from Killer. He tries to push up, but Toast is just out of range. A takedown, and remaining 7 only managed to get 1 gem out of that encounter.
The pairing of the Jesse bounce shot with the Rosa stun showcased there. CMG still prevail, alive and healthy here. 3 brawlers now standing for the blue side. Killer looking to instigate some aggression. Zeus gonna pick up this gym count for now. Needs to be careful. 3 brawlers rushing him, throwing down the rubber duck as a saving grace here. Luffy there to the rescue, dragging him to the Shadow Realm. Another one going down as well. 9 seconds to go. CMG desperately need a kill. Fade trying to march up the map. Can't get there. Luffy with the stop. Remaining 7 drag us to a set 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. How many match points is it going to take for CMG to close this one out? An answer that we'll be receiving very, very soon as we head into the last possible set, if they're even able to close it out. Scary, scary stuff from remaining 7. What a finish there. In what metered gameplay from everyone except for Rosa. I mean, just run it down, make some room for your teammates to push in. It's all the fun stuff, but that's a strategy. It's a winning play, and it worked out so well for remaining 7.
I honestly ended up love watching this remaining 7 composition. I mean, if you can see the smile on my face off screen and when we were on camera there, it's just pure Brawl Stars joy. This is what you dream of. I mean, we're going to a set 5. Remaining 7, what a story here. The 3rd team in the region, Chazmac Gaming, have been all over the place with wins here recently. This is a team that has beaten them as well. I mean, Chazmac Gaming have beaten everybody. Not quite yet. they still hold on for dear life. They stay disciplined. Again, the new signing as well, really showcasing why remaining 7 ended up picking up this strong 3. I'm excited to see what unfolds here in a set number 5. But the Rosa action was great. The Jesse turret stuns were prominent. Overall, I can't be more happy here that we're going to a 5th and final one to decide who will take this 5th monthly finals of the year.
I was very apprehensive about the Rosa pick, actually, but it turns out that burning open all these bushes was a big ask of RBM, who's not only focused on burning open some of the bushes, but kind of focused on burning those enemies, too, who seem to like staying in the bushes, out of reach as often as they can. Fade with 14 kills. This dude really put in the work this time, but remaining 7 were constantly able to run this one down, especially looking to kill her. 8 kills on his side, but I actually don't want to know the death count, really. As long as he's able to make some space for Luffy to pick up some gems, I'm a happy guy.
I feel like Rosa hung in there pretty well. I think in terms of kills, you know, especially with a tankier brawler like that, it's okay to go even maybe a little negative at times. I think Rosa's role was clear. It's get to the enemy side, throw some stuns down with the gadget, recycle in those supers, and I think going into somebody like Buster made a lot of sense as well. I think, again, pairing that stun with the Jesse bounce shot was actually a really sneaky interaction that maybe these guys knew about, maybe it was something they kept in mind, but if they galaxy brained it, all the more respect and all the more deserving of that victory here. Momentum riding with remaining 7 Premier, though, going into a 5th and final set. I'm as surprised as I'm sure a lot of the people at home are. I mean, this was a team that was not looking great into CMG. CMG looked on top of the world in our first 2 sets. Could do no wrong until remaining 7 could only do right. It's been a close call, 2-1s the whole way since remaining 7 have tied things up. And I'm kind of feeling like that's what we're going to see here in a set number 5. Ready?
Look, I'll point it out again. Chazmac Gaming, they had the toughest bracket that they could possibly have, unless they had to play against themselves. That would make it a little bit more difficult. But they had to play against Tribe in the very first match of the day just to make it here. And while they did get a pretty convincing win over them, 3-1 by the way, they still have to fight through remaining 7, which is remarkably a closer match. Remaining 7 have had a bit more time, I think, to scrim some of these maps. And I think that's a lot of what it comes down to, aside from the fact that they're pretty good at this game. So 5th and final set to decide it all. We'll be heading into the final map, Bell's Rock.
Knock out a punishing 5th map. Real opportunity for some teams to have some very pleasant memories or some very unpleasant memories here on this map. Again, you get 1 life every single round. You make it count. If you go down early, the enemy team, automatic advantage. If you feed supers too early, automatic advantage for the other team. A very calculated game mode, especially for 2 teams that we view as more aggressive. I'm curious to see if their draft caters to that, or if both sides just end up playing it safe, go with those throwers, maybe the little long range, medium range kinds of brawlers here. I think the bans are very interesting to see go through as well. Clearly remaining 7 want no part of the throwers and Squeak, who can be very pesky on this map. On the other side, though, no Sam, a duplicate ban of the Squeak, and Brock, a very standard brawler that could show up here. Gray, the overall first selection, and as our win rates come out too, B comes to mind, Shelly comes to mind. I mean, Fang with a very high win rate. I will say, though, if I had to take an educated guess, his sample size probably not as high as those other 2. I think Fang can work, but more circumstantial in my mind.
No doubt. I mean, really, when you see some of these brawlers as a last pick, like if you see Fang as a last pick, it's probably going to be in a situation where they know it's the win condition, right? Because Fang, when he's not really viable, he's seriously not viable. Not an incredibly difficult brawler to counter when it comes to drafting, especially when it comes to the pro leagues like this. With the selection now from remaining 7, RT, no real complaints here. Just a pretty safe selection that'll be resilient in close range. Pretty good at putting up versus Gray if he decides to TP in. Gene, also one of those that can deal with Gray as long as he has that lamp blow at the ready. And I think another thing that this affords for them is the last pick of a thrower. I think that Grum is very, very viable here, and Chazmac Gaming are going to have to now draft around that possibility.
Bonnie now touching down as well. Bonnie's somebody we haven't seen as much, it feels like, today as we normally do. Certainly has been excelling in the play rates here recently. Oh, and if Shelly's left open, Shelly's gonna touch down as well. Oh, this is shaping up to be very spicy. I mean, Shelly as a 5th selection here for Chazmac Gaming, certainly a bargain given how good this brawler is in the current meta. She has the long range gadget as well, so she can keep the distance with somebody like RT in short spurts. Jean, of course, has the pool as an option. Would have been awesome to pair that Jean pool with the shotgun brawler. Not gonna happen this time. Lola, the final selection for remaining 7. 7. I have mixed feelings about both of these drafts. To me, it doesn't feel like one side necessarily ran away with it, but love seeing Shelly. I mean, if you're going to put your faith in one brawler in a 5th and final set, makes a lot of sense for me to do it with that brawler in the current state of the game.
Yeah, I'm looking at Lola, especially because I think she'll be able to lane effectively versus virtually every single one of these brawlers. The only one that might be able to do some stuff to her in close range is Bonnie, because she unloads a ton of DPS in a short period of time. And Lola, while she does get good DPS, speed of unloading that damage is notably less than Bonnie when she's out of that cannon. So we'll see how that interaction goes. But for now, I'm actually looking at remaining 7 to having a pretty good draft here. I know that RBM will get some crazy things done here with the Shelly, though. So we'll see what he's able to accomplish. Just has to dodge out these shots. He has that very fast speed to work with, so it'll be a huge advantage for him. Also got to note Fade has those canes to work with, has that gadget at the ready if he needs to.
Zeus popping a gadget there as well. Really trying to make CMG feel the hurt here early. Has a super charged up with those indestructible walls. Can be a serious threat as the match starts to close out, as the round gets closer and closer to the incoming fog. Killer, Luffy, both trying to charge ones up of their own. Of course, Killer, if he gets a magic hand, can make a pull, but onto a shotgun brawler, not the most fun. Onto Toast, who has a lot of HP, not the most fun. Fade, if he has a teleport, can get away. That might be their best bet, but he's even got a shield gear on. No easy pickings here for either side.
So far, not a whole lot of action on either side. No kills just yet. Could see the first one coming in quite soon, though. Killer taking a lot of damage. Here's the pull. It's a great one, too. RBM looks for a final kill. No, gonna hang on to that super. Luffy staying dangerously close to the poison. Zeus comes in around the right for a pinch. And remaining 7 take the very first round.
Getting closer and closer to making a dream a reality. Chasman Gaming started off 2-0 here. Remaining 7 in very close fashion. 2 straight sets claw their way back into it, but right now certainly facing some adversity. A dive in from Toast, a shotgun blast from RBM, a complete sweep of the left-hand side, and they leave Zeus all by his lonesome. His name may say CMG on screen, but he is certainly not on this enemy team's side. Gonna just do a little jogging for now, but ultimately it's going to be Fade, Toast, and RBM who will prevail in this spot with just another shot.
Yeah, sometimes you got to throw CMG in your name. You got to keep your friends closer and your enemies closer, and maybe try and get in your enemy's head, see what they're thinking. But it didn't seem to pose any advantage in that last round as it goes to Chasmat Gaming NA, and it all comes down to round 3 to determine the outcome of this game. Either way, someone's going to a match point, and it just might be remaining 7. Already takedown of RBM, a great pull. Now the commitment from Toast in onto Zeus, but the takedown's good for Luffy. And Fade is the last remaining member of this roster. Got to protect the president here, and that means protect the base of Zeus, as he really wants to get back into his longer range form. Fade also has that teleport through, but all the health is regen. He doesn't have a whole lot of DPS to work with, and it's going to be tough. It might even be a lost battle, but he's still going to give it his all.
Have to give it your all in this spot. No extra round here until the next game, so Fade going to be giving it his best. He's a single shot brawler going into very healthy Zeus, into Luffy, who can bring in an extra spawner, and the teleport's going down. A little TP of their own for RT. Insane plays, and I can't believe we're saying it, ready, but match point for remaining 7 Premier.
Look, you should have listened to me at the beginning. I gave them my 35%. It's a good team. And CMG are fantastic too, but they had a hard bracket today. We'll see if they're able to cap it off with a bang. Remaining 7, just 1 game away from sweet victory and maybe getting to exhale for the first time in this entire match.
Killer falling low HP here very early. The sniper Shelly being unleashed here too. Immediate pickup, making a second for CMG. No games being played. This team is now fighting a very desperate spot. They've had multiple match points to close out, but remaining 7 Premier are still alive and well. 1 round for now though, going to Chasma Gaming's side. They need to make it another if they want to drag this to double match point.
They've really teed things up well. First, they denied the super to Killer. Now they've taken him down early, and it's just Luffy and Zeus left, but not for long. Early kill onto Luffy, and Zeus is sent packing just like that, going to double match point.
Time to get...
The stakes have never been higher. This month matters more than any other month we've had up into the point this year. Tribe Gaming eliminated by CMG. CMG with an opportunity to take a 3rd straight monthly finals. Who would have thought remaining 7 Premier would be that opponent that they're faced? Double match point now, both sides looking to come away with it here.
Very, very dangerous. Chazmac Gaming and Ace seem to have some tricks up their sleeve. They make the lane switch of RBM over to the left side. Toast now trying to pressure things in from the right. Zeus almost forced into that pin of fences. RBM looking to approach from the left. RBM takes serious damage, but he's still able to get away alive and walk away with a kill on Zeus. 2v3 ensues with Luffy and Killer as the main characters. They need their supers for the next round as they're pretty outmatched here. They could just be left with one round left. Permanent deaths to try and win this grand final. Killer and Luffy still just looking for these supers. Remaining 7 want those, but Chazmac Gaming want and need them too. So who will be walking away with the supers and who will be left empty-handed?
RBM going to be closing the gap here. 2 supers suddenly appearing there. None for Killer. Lola gets one of her own, though, and just going to take to the fog here. One more round away, and CMG, all of the hard work that remaining 7 Premier put in here could be for nothing. The current kings of North America East, 1 round away from finishing the job. R7, though, starting out way more aggressive. Pool going down as well. Instant kill. RBM releasing the shotgun. All the action unfolding here. RBM holding on to another super of his own, but the range of Luffy too strong. 1-1 overall. 1 round to decide it all.
Killer now desperately left without that super that was the win condition in the previous round. He needs it now. And RBM's holding on to that super. Fade also has the teleport. It's a dangerous game for both teams. Once Killer gets a super, if he manages to get it, that could be the game decided there. Luffy now with the ego down on the right side. Fade, RBM still alive and healthy on the left with 2 supers at their disposal. Toast also hanging on to that last gadget. It all comes down to this round. Each team with 3 members remaining, and Gene has the super at the ready.
Scary stuff for both sides. No mistakes can be afforded here. Killer with the magic hand. Zeus can deploy the legs if needed. Toast with a sugar rush on the right-hand side. Isolation play. And diving from Toast at the perfect time. Shut down immediately. Buck blast going down for RBM. Low HP for Killer. Trying to take shield from Zeus and Luffy, who are body blocking here. Fade super available. RBM keeping the distance as well. 3v2 situation. The reverse sweep attempted right now from remaining 7. They've drug it all the way here. Shots going down. 2v2 situation. RBM. Big blast going down. Low HP for Gene. Fade being pushed away. The pull through. Remaining 7. Reverse sweep inbounds. The fight for the throne of the NA East continues, and we will have a new one for this month.
And just like that, they are your monthly finals champions here in NA East. What a journey for remaining 7. And like we said, finally get to exhale after such a tough match. Yeah, go and take a lap around the house. And tragedy begins to set in. If not the first stages of grief, perhaps denial for CMG. As they came so close, victory just within their grasp several times as it began to fall through their fingers on those several match points. Devastating for them. What a tough day for both teams, but only one can walk away as a victor.
As a caster on the other side of things, I'm sure you feel similarly. I'm sure F-Dot on the sidelines feel similarly. I am so happy for remaining 7 and so crushed at the same time for CMG. I mean, to lose in such a big fight, tough, but also to see remaining 7 pick up their first grand finals. They were in 3rd place. And if you're a fan of Chaos, if you were a fan of the biggest storylines going into the final month here, this is what you wanted to see happen. We now have 3 very clear teams who are right there in it. 3 different winners in NA East. Absolute chaos, absolute insanity, and amazing plays for both of these teams. I mean, NA East looking like one to watch next month.
I mean, it's the same 3 characters. It's the same 3 teams repeatedly appearing in the grand finals and taking W's, but it just can't seem to stay within anyone's grasp for an extended period of time. It's Motomamis. They become Raconic and, or rather, remaining 7, and they're still able to take it. Chazmac Gaming have it for a couple of months. They're able to seize the throne once again, but it's only temporary. It could be equally shared amongst 3 separate victors this year.
I mean, there's only 2 spots in this region ready. CMG, remaining 7, Tribe. Nobody is secure next month. The bracket, the wins, going to mean everything here. But big celebrations in order for remaining 7 Premier. A very deserved victory, and Killer with a very deserved MVP vote. Impressive stuff all around for all of these teams. But remaining 7, I mean, not something I expected, to say the least, especially in this fashion. 3-2 going on their side. I can't say it enough. I'm impressed. The competition of Brawl Stars has been so good this year, especially for this region.
Look, I mean, it's really everything coming together now as we've gone through a crazy bracket for the day. I mean, we started things off with Tribe versus Chazmat Gaming, with Chazmat Gaming coming out on top, a 3-1 victory. Not quite the sweep that we saw in the previous month, but still a great display of dominance. Then remaining 7 versus Peaky Penguins. And if you want to talk about a display of dominance, let's talk about only one game going the way of Peaky Penguins. Now in the grand finals, remaining 7 at the double match point, and mind you, a reverse sweep as well. Just scraped by to take that hard-earned victory.
And I mean, we've done the math, and it's insanely close right now. Chasma Gaming, remaining 7, Tribe Gaming, all at the top of this leaderboard. Between third place, 21 points, separating Chasma Gaming NA from remaining 7. Tribe Gaming right there in the mix as well. Their 2 grand finals win this year. Keep them in this boat. This next month means everything. One of these teams can't claim an LCQ or a World Finals spot. And I mean, 30 points is what you get for showing up to a quarterfinals. The difference between remaining 7 and Chasma Gaming is less than that, ready.
This is really the crazy thing, too, is that two of these top 3 teams are going to have to face off in the semifinals. So someone's journey is going to be cut short of Worlds or LCQ just in those semifinals, which is the craziest thing about how close these top 3 teams are, with only 2 spots that could potentially lead you to Worlds.
Well, remaining 7 Premier picked a good time to pick up this roster and get themselves their first grand finals win. Crazy to say it, but that's only our first half of the broadcast. We've got another sub-region coming up, folks. Don't go anywhere. Get prepped for some NA West action here in just a few moments.
back on the grind. Boring.
has all been coming down to this.
We gotta turn big dreams into action. We gotta mix action with the passion.
Oh my word! What an incredible moment!
We gotta turn big dreams into action. We gotta mix action with the passion. Time short, no time for relaxing. Be the first and last out, make it happen. We gotta turn big dreams into action. We gotta mix action with the passion. Time short, no time for relaxing.
Without further ado, let's get rolling.
Welcome back to the BSC. It is North America time again. We have two NA sub-regions, and I gotta be honest, I've been having a ton of fun just spamming the chat. You see the new Dino Dance emote? Dude, I'm all about it. Kenny, how you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good. I mean, not only about the Dino Dance emote, but also just the Brawl Stars that we've had today. I mean, NA East was so good. No, sorry, just the Dino Dance. Also good, though. All's good. All's good.
Yeah, honestly, Ready Set, we got a chance to watch that. Best of 5 is doing it a disservice. Just, I cannot believe that grand finals we just watched.
That was pretty nutty right there, but I'm glad that we got to see just what this entire region and NA East has to offer and how close things really are in that region. No one's on top for too long, and it all comes down to the final month. It continues to get more and more exciting throughout the year.
And NA West, pretty much the same bag of monkeys here. We've got Luminosity and Stamina right on top here, 386 and 363. So very, very close. It's pretty much just between those two. Raconic and Wash teams, certainly very competitive. We see them a bunch, but the level that Lumi and STMN are on has just been really, really tough to match, Kenny. And, you know, that's pretty much the tale of the tape.
The rivalry between Luminosity Gaming and STMN has been something to watch this year, and also a lot of credit too to Watch Team, who's been very consistent throughout the year in general. Not necessarily their strongest month this month. Raconic Esports right there with them, going to be shown here today. I think NA West, we talked about it earlier. NA East super close. NA West feels very similar too. We've had two teams like Luminosity and STMN who've broken away a little bit from the pack, but I still think Raconic's a good enough team. Watch Team, some of these other teams are going to be great opposition for these guys.
Well, we'll get a chance to see pretty much all three of these teams kind of play up today for sure. In fact, let's take a look at the bracket and see where North America West is at holistically. Because as we said, Raconic comes through taking down No Hands, and they are going to be head-to-head against Leok Fox. And then Luminosity Gaming versus Stamina. Very similar vibes to what we had going on in North America East. We got a chance to see CMG versus Tribe in that semifinals, and it was a big deal. Beating your opponent in semis before they even make it to grand finals limits the amount of points they're able to get overall. And essentially, we have boiled it down to this region as largely Lumi versus Stamina, ready, set. But at the end of the day, seeing this semifinal matchup, that just further solidifies the idea.
Pretty much. I think with this setup, it's been determined that Stamina basically need to win this month and the next month in order to get that qualification of Worlds, which is just so crazy to think about how that early lead from Luminosity at the start of the year has taken them so far. And with STMN actually going down to the lower bracket in the monthly qualifiers, that puts them also a decent amount behind Luminosity Gaming, and by decent amount I mean literally 1 point that could make or break their Worlds run.
I mean, that's very true. You know, these points varies particularly, they matter. Every single time you make it out of quarterfinals or semifinals, that is a big deal. You've got to be able to find yourselves towards the top, especially with our sub-region situation. You've got to be number one or you're number none. That's really what you're looking for in order to make yourself known on the top level. So definitely an interesting look as far as all these players are concerned. And as far as our predictions are concerned, maybe a little less interesting. I think at the end of the day, Raconic coming up against Leok Fox, that one might be, no disrespect, a little bit easy of a lock-in for the fans at home. Stamina versus Luminosity, though, much closer than our predictions might kind of let on, Kenny. I think at the end of the day, Luminosity are the next team, but I just have to be proven that they can take down Stamina before I put my eggs in that basket.
Yeah, I think STMN deserve a lot of credit. I mean, to start off the year, Luminosity, a different team name at the time called Dogwalkers, were winning that matchup. I mean, it was 2-0 to kick off the year, but STMN have kicked it into high gear. Great showing at LAN events such as Masters, and when we casted the boys in San Diego. They've won back-to-back monthly finals now, too. Could make it a third here today. This is similar to CMG, right? These guys have won 2 in a row. I'm a man of logic and reasoning. This rivalry's been close. Even Luminosity have had some good moments this second half, but STMN are the team to beat for me.
Well, that's what we're getting into a little bit later. For now, we're starting off on the top side of the semifinals. It's Raconic Esports North America going head-to-head against Leok Fox. And when we take a look at Raconic, this is Shine, Jack Chepo, and Frixie. This has been a fun team to watch for sure. I think Frixie, since moving over to this team, has had some success. But I think their success has been metered, ready, set. I'm eager to see, every time they take the field, I'm eager to see what they've learned and how they've improved since last time around.
Same deal here. And we got Shine on the cam too. I mean, this is the team captain right here, but he's got some two really cracked players at his side, especially Chepo, who's been seriously owning in this region for a fairly long time. It's a star-studded roster, Raconic Esports NA. They can routinely make it to those top spots. Really, the thing is, when are they going to graduate towards winning a monthly final? That is the real big next level up for Raconic.
Agreed. They're right here sort of in this middle spot. You know, trending, let's say that secondary tier, that third tier pushing into the next one. And it's really fun kind of watching them, like I said, every single time come and improve. On the other hand, though, we've got Leok Fox, Avtre, Ojita, and Gary coming on through. Newer guys in my mind, Kenny, but I know as far as the larger Brawl esports world is concerned, these players have taken the field before and have made some noise.
Yeah, and they're going to have to make some big noise here. I mean, making something like LCQ or Worlds, not necessarily in the cards for these guys, but wreaking some havoc, maybe playing spoiler for somebody like Reconic Esports, certainly in the realm of possibility. And again, for a lot of these teams, similar to what we called out for Peaky Penguins earlier, gain some experience. Maybe next year's their year. Maybe these are just the building blocks necessary to become one of the next greats in North America West. You're really excited to see what these guys can do. This is a team that I'm less familiar with as well. Haven't seen a ton of them, of course, on the broadcast stage or anything like that. Not similar to Reconic. So Reconic, we all picked them. They should be the favorites coming in this spot. I'm sure the people at home will be more familiar with the Reconic, so they'll get the love there. But excited to see what these guys can do.
The other side of competition, of course, always worth talking about, is how important doing your homework is. I say that all the time. You just have to know that as Livy's going to come out with the Piper, you got to know when you're playing against RBM and Fade to watch out for the Ash tanks. And here, well, you don't know what to watch out for when you're playing against Leok Fox. And that is definitely at least a chip on their side when you compare over to Reconic. An overwhelming amount of the fans have voted for Reconic here this time around, ready, set. But while we don't know what Leok Fox might bring to the table, when we look towards Reconic, we will see what they're able to bring. Ready, set, as I said. We'll catch up with them a little bit later. Me and Kenny are going to be your pilots for this one right here. We'll jump into picks and bans right quick. And the Bell first selection off the rip. Leok Fox certainly going the long range meta with respect to safe zone, answered by a Brock.
Interesting stuff to kick things off here. It's going to be Gary taking a Bell, 8-bit an immediate selection after that. Interesting to see 8-bit into a Bell. Normally we see the opposite effect because Bell's bounce shot historically does quite well into 8-bit. I still love 8-bit on this map though. I think I can live with it, especially if Chepo, presuming he plays this brawler, ends up popping off with it. 8-bit has that kind of X factor with his gadget and super synergy. I mean, that high safe will be hurt. So I like this. Two brawlers that can dish out a heavy amount of damage. They have the long range to keep up with Bell. I like this start from Reconic Esports.
Certainly a nice look. Squeak coming through. Best brawler right now, Squeak, yes or no?
Squeak at the top of the meta, I don't think it's a predefined best pick, but I think it could certainly work. I think it can get some nice choke points on this map, especially since the introduction of those indestructible walls right side and top left side from our perspective. I think he can have some good value. Don't mind the pick at all.
Nice answer. I kind of baited you a little bit there. Squeak, I think always is about map specific. If you can find little choke points, as you said, just these zones where you're not allowed to go, that's where Squeak really makes his money. On safe zone, we'll see how it works out. The cult coming through, we got to talk about that one. I think the Sam combining on the side of Reconic, certainly kind of, I don't know about standard, but I see what you're going for. But the cult, it's been a long time since we've seen the cult, and you could argue that cult's stock went down with unbreakable walls.
It's crazy that we see the cult, and that's the most surprising thing considering a Sam's on the field as well as
right.
Zone. A lot to take in there. However, Sam has shown up on this map more and more. Again, he showed up a lot last month for NA in general, and even Reply Totem, a team that won a monthly finals this month for the first time, used this brawler to get a win on the set earlier this weekend. A lot of interesting interaction. Maybe Colt is just a comfort brawler for these guys. Hard to say. The DPS there. Colt is a brawler, though, very hard to pilot. So it's going to take a lot here, and we're going to have to see what these gentlemen are made of. Big super going down right-hand side. Shine, though, still able to prevail, climb his way up that map, and cycle out that super for some extra HP.
You know, the Sam selection is absolutely just an ego pick. Shine is just saying, I can outperform, I can dodge and weave enough to make it past the midfield. And he did, but did not get any damage onto the safe as soon as he did so. Leok Fox, the first one's on the board here, 14%. Got that backwards. Reconic nailing that 14%. I don't think it was Sam, though. Must have come from Chepo or Frixie.
They've got a real opportunity with both Frixie and Chepo. I mean, Chepo, especially if he can establish a turret there, can be very powerful. I think they're going to have to be very careful about breaking that little four-pronged wall there in the middle. The few logs is where they can really establish a turret, gain some control, get those peak shots going down. I think they're going to try and take advantage of that there. Big defense coming in from the red roster as well. A few nest eggs to try and trip up Shine, possibly, the one that'll be most aggressive going down that field. But all things considered, this is very close. Both these compositions very interesting. Both playing them pretty well so far with a minute to go.
Shine just eating damage from Abtree, but Chepo doing a good job of also being here, providing a secondary target. Both right laners fall down. But Chepo helping Shine in the best of ways. Still, Raconic has a slight lead here, making it larger as Chepo just laying in from the mid lane. 8-bit go burr, and just a third left for Leo Fox. Sam showing up on the back end as well, and Raconic find their moment. Just 25 to go, Kenny. I think this one is all but dusted.
I mean, what an insane turnaround here for Raconic Esports. They had a small lead, and then 0 to 100 brr is the right way to put it. Definitely not the adjective I would have first thought of, but it's going to get the job done nonetheless. Chepo was ready to go as well, but it will be Brock who gets the job done. A stare of a winner right there so far. Good stuff coming in from game number 1 is going to be Raconic Esports getting it here.
Smooth moves coming out from Raconic. The Cult, you know, the Cult was selected before the Sam, so I'm not going to give them all the big brain stuff in the world here, but breaking open this right side lane so Sam has a harder time getting across the battlefield, certainly not a bad look. So I don't hate the Cult selection after all. Ultimately, it was 8-bit in the mid that did a lot of the damage to this enemy safe, so Leo Fox gotta pay attention to Chepo, and they do just that, finding the kill. But Frixie wins on the other side, and Ojita has to watch out.
Yeah, and this is going to be a real problem here up top as well. Shine just swiping through, getting some big punches going down as well. Oof. Double kill going down, and he's still alive, regaining some HP and right back where he started. They almost have to debate to break this open here. They haven't used the super quite yet. There it is. Doesn't do a ton of damage though, and guess what? Shine with another pop-off, really allowing for Chepo to just throw down shots, and now they're less than 50% and well past 25 to go.
Wow. I feel like we just started here, and Shine gets some damage on the board, but his teammates get even more so. And just a hair of HP left on the box itself. Pop! Raconic Esports take the game and the set. They don't seem like it took them much effort. Heist in the pocket. Shine just going to work.
Yeah, just another day in the office. I mean, again, nobody celebrating too early, very focused on the screen in front of him, I'm sure. Impressive stuff to say the least, and I think Shine as a Sam was real instrumental in their win there. I mean, Sam is somebody that's a big risk reward, kind of how I felt about Colt, but we have seen Sam a little bit more frequently recently. It's shown up a bunch in EMEA, shown a bunch in NA. So I feel like the Sam is a little more valid. It's not something that I question as much as I used to, and I think in that spot, Colt's a squishy brawler, very favorable matchup for them too. So I think the fact that they chose Colt, look, maybe it's a comfort pick, maybe it's just something they believed in. I think it was a really tough thing to make work, and again, just one of those really high skill cap brawlers. So playing a Colt against a strong team like Raconic Esports, even a team as good as them are going to struggle when navigating the Colt. So I think that was maybe something that was a make or break moment, and I feel like when you're going against a team that you're the undercard, right? They're not favored to win this matchup. Can't really be taking too many big risks like that. I love taking the chance. I love playing what's comfortable at times, especially if you're the team with less known, but at the same time, that's a really tough one to make work.
You know, I'll come the other direction. I actually think the Colt situation was, you know, if you do get an opportunity, if you get a scoring opportunity, which Leo Fox strictly did it. They did not really make themselves, put themselves in a position to really hit that box. Colt is one of these characters that can, you open the window, they lay in, they do a ton of damage off the rip, and then you kill them and go next. Sure. So I think had LF gotten the opportunity and opened the window, Colt does some work. But because they didn't actually get there, so I get it a little bit. I see where you're coming from with high levels of execution. But I think ultimately Raconic just winds up winning that one largely off of just strong play. Leo Fox could have picked 3 different brawlers, and I think we would have wound up with the same situation. Raconic just crushed it. Big shout outs to the 8-bit play as well, especially in that first one.
Yeah, I think that
over here to Crystal Arcade. Gem Grab is going to be up next here. Hot Zone, Open Zone will be our third set. So Kenny, setting the table here for Gem Grab on Crystal Arcade. We've seen a lot of Sandy in North America here. You think we'll see it again?
I think Sandy is definitely a possibility here. We'll see if it even enters the ban stage. I think Sandy is somebody that's risen a little bit more as the metas progress through these balance changes. But I'm looking here and we're seeing Buzz on the other side. We're seeing Ash getting banned. Again, good brawlers for this map. Certainly worth a pick here and there, but a little more circumstantial, maybe scouting out their opponents or maybe knowing what they just don't want to play against here. We see Shelly go down as a ban on the right-hand side. No Cordelius to be seen, though, and he has shown up a ton this weekend. Interesting. Mr. P as the first overall selection. That's not one I would have guessed, I thought.
I mean, Mr. P was a large topic of conversation throughout the entire summer, and I feel like that conversation has quieted down a little bit. So first selection overall for Iconic might be a swag pick. We'll see how things progress. Things did go pretty easily for Iconic, so they might let their foot off the gas a little bit. Or maybe I'm just chatting nonsense and this is part of their strat. I guess we'll see once things kind of hit the ground running. But Tadier first pick, we've got Tara showing up here. Strong super.
Agreed. I think a good choice here, one that can pierce through the spawners as well. And of course, Tadier coming in for Gary. We saw Gary a little bit ago. In-game looked a little of a different name, of course, but that is the substitution we're going to get to see here. So all four of these guys going to touch down on the playing field. Mr. P, with all due respect, does have one of the higher play rate wins. I'm just a little surprised that we see it as that first overall selection. That's one of those things I expect to see later down the line. So Tara paired with Cordelius, I think this is actually a great couple brawlers here for our red roster. I think this is about as good of a 2-3 turn as you can get.
Yeah, I agree there. Also worth noting, you know, something, this is a big duh, but something that people kind of forget when looking at stats. Stats always tell us the story of what happened in the past, and we use that data to kind of formulate opinions on what's going to happen in the future. But that's kind of what I was saying about Mr. P. Mr. P's high on the win rate. Mr. P was high. We were talking about him, but things have changed. A couple of Brawl talks, and Mr. P not kind of the guy that he was just a month ago or so. And so Leo Fox looking for their third selection. Mr. P, Spike, and Gus here coming out for Iconic Esports, Crystal Arcade. I like this draft. I think Mr. P, even with the conversation about him with respect to how strong he is, I think Mr. P works in this draft. Certainly mid-control, up for grabs. I think Iconic have a better draft trying to control that mid, but Leo Fox with the Bell long range, I guess it really just comes down to the Cordelius.
Yeah, interesting to see how this one goes down. Bell, another one of those brawlers that's not necessarily normal on this map. I think this might be just a circumstantial one that they're going for. We have the Life Plant and we have the Mr. P Porter. So Bell's going to have several opportunities to get some bounce shots. In terms of long range against Gus, can also keep up in that category. I feel like it almost is a must that Gus and Bell play as respective mids for their teams. And I think it's going to come down to big lane matchups as well. If Mr. P can cycle in good sporters, if we can get some Spike victories as well, going to be a big difference maker here. So I think this one is simply going to come down to some mechanics.
Leo Fox, folks, waving that stamina pin. Ojeda here versus Frixie Spike and losing. So the plant matter goes the way of the cactus, not the mushrooms. And then Tadier versus Chepo on the left side. Tara going head-to-head versus the Penguin. Mr. P doing well here. Is that the way that matchup's supposed to go?
I think it depends a little bit. I mean, Mr. P can also deal with those, you know, extra helpers from Tara pretty well, especially if it's right off the rip. If they start to fan out, spread out, not as easy, but Tara can kind of do the same thing, right? We're going to see a Mr. P Porter go down if they beef it up a little bit harder for Tara. Going to cost a few more shots as we're seeing here. And ultimately, it's going to win that matchup. I think in my mind, I thought Mr. P would maybe struggle into that a little more, but I think with the HP that those Porters have, it's actually going to take Tara several shots. So I'm definitely open to being wrong on that interaction. I just think the Tara Super as well can go a long ways for Jim Grab as a mode. They got a lot of work cut out for him, though. It's a countdown for Iconic.
A dozen as Leo Fox looks to push forward. Chepo does fall down, but 9 gems on the shine, 1 on Frixie. And he does fall down. We'll restart the countdown as it's still 9-1 spread. Just a hair to go. Tadier on the right-hand side, Ojeda on the left. All they have to do is get Shine or Chepo. They can't choose. Shine at the last second falls down, but Leo Fox pushed everything in the middle of the table. And they lose everything. One more time, Rakana counting down from 13, but Frixie has all 10 on him this time, and in a much better position. Rakana take game one.
Well played. I mean, like you said, it cost them everything to make that push. All chips down on the table, and unfortunately the all-in did not pay off that time. That's what they had to do, though. They were with such a big deficit there. No other choice to be had. Got to go full offensive, hope for the best, and again, with such strong positioning, with the brawler count going their way, consistent 3 throughout that game, it was just Rakonic Esports time to shine. So one more away, and they will be taking 2 straight sets. Big opportunity here for Red Roster. We're going to have to see a big difference here from what we've seen so far in this match.
Well, right away, Cordelius is going to swap over to the left side, try to deal with the Mr. P. Chepo played it very, very well into the tower last time around. Cordelius lands the mute, but won't find anything else. Now the porters are out. Chepo getting aggressive. Takes down the left side player. Leo Fox also loses their gem carrier, so 4 gems in the pocket, making 5 for Rakonic, one of which was stolen. And Rakonic maintained mid-control.
Nice job done here. Little Shadow Realm battle going down. A shield being popped. Shine staying more than healthy. I like that choice from him a moment ago, getting really aggressive onto enemy lines, knowing that he had his ghostly friend to help him out with that extra HP. About 4,000 being added every time you pop that super. So definitely worth the risk there, especially into just Cordelius, who has such short range. Really well played. Nice block out there from the life plant. Frixie putting on a clinic here on this right-hand side. Big pickup for the red side, though. Shine being forced away, with a lot of work left to be done. It's 9-3. We need to see the other side really start to shine and pick up some kills.
Rakonic now stepping forward, should be able to grab 10th gem. I don't know about right here. All right, right here. Just stepping forward. Dangerous situation, but Rakonic has faith in themselves. Teddy still behind enemy lines. Actually not dead just yet. Shine with all 10 trying to step forward and grab a couple of shots, but this one should be done. Teddy falls. Rakonic stands strong. And again, they take gem grab this time around.
Nicely played. Rakonic kind of just doing what they're meant to do, right? I think, you know, credit, they are winning, but this is kind of what we expect out of them, right? I think for the other side, little newer on the block, but they are doing what they're supposed to do. 2-0, 2-0. Impressive stuff from Rakonic. I think they're going to have to just close it out here. Getting a 3-0 victory would be a nice way to cap off this and get to a grand finals where they will have a really challenging opponent if they make it there. Never want to give up early on a team. You never know. I mean, literally a little earlier ago in NA East, we saw CMG just putting the hurt on remaining 7, and they clawed their way back into a reverse sweep. That's a team we're a little more familiar with, though. I just can't say the same for the guys over on the Leok Fox side.
Absolutely. You know, when you're a team like Leok Fox, what your job is very different than when you're a team here like Rakonic. And even more so, their job is very different when you're a top-tier team like Stamina or Chazmac, right? Your role when you hit the monthly finals is always very different depending on the tier. And so Leok Fox, yes, their goal should be to win monthly finals every single month and go to Worlds and win. But being realistic, it's really just one game at a time. And so you are given the gift of playing up against a team like Rakonic, where there is still a skill difference. There is still a skill differential between our top card and our bottom card in the semifinals. I'm not going to be the caster that lies to you and tells you, oh, everybody here is having a great day. Leok Fox can learn a lot from this situation. And if I'm them, I'm putting everything on this next hot zone. I want to get at least one game win. I want to really be able to take my tape home and see how I lost. And the problem is, Rakonic has just been doing everything better, and there's not much to learn from that. So if I'm Leok Fox, what I'm doing here in this next hot zone, I'm figuring out our best situation, my best strategy, throwing it at the wall and seeing how my opposition has poked holes in it, Kenny. I think that's Leok Fox's #1 goal here, to learn from this situation, learn from this endeavor, and then level up next time around.
Love that. Leveling up. I mean, well said in the sense that the expectation we put on these guys is not the same for a common team like Raconic Esports NA. All three of their players have been around the block for North America West, for North America previously for regions. They're really good players who arguably don't have as much to prove. But even just seeing yourself take one game, one set, that's a much bigger deal for somebody like Leok Fox. So gonna give it their all here, I'm sure. And it's going to be left to open zone to see if they can take us to a fourth set. First overall selection going to be Amber, a very common brawler for this map.
Bans coming out as well. Nothing really exciting to really write home about. Somebody's got to ban the Lou, and it's going to be Leok Fox over here. I do love that North America still thinks of the ice cream man. He's so cute. But our Poco selection. All right. Poco, as Gary is stepping back in for Avtre. And this is something I like here from Leok Fox, to be honest with you. We have a number of 4-person rosters in professional Brawl Stars now. I think STMN, Tribe were some of the first teams to kind of dabble with it. And now we see a couple of squads kind of go for it. Chazmac has the same thing, etc. But usually we just see like one swap, maybe two over the course of a match. Leok Fox has been back and forth, swapping players in and out, which, I mean, sure, half full, half empty. We could argue what's better or worse, but Leok Fox, things haven't been working. And so they're switching things around. I like that approach. Poco B are the choices for them.
I think a strong pairing here too on the 2-3 turn. Two brawlers for a long time that have shown up on this map. Sure, it is a long-range looking map, but Poco has a ton of health points, can heal teammates, can be really pesky to get a takedown on, especially when he's cycling in those supers or those gadgets. So I think that this is a viable hot zone option. Again, B, somebody with the long range, heavy hitting as well, can deal with Amber if she plays it right. Again, mechanics are a big factor as well. I like the ego playing to a single shot brawler like B. Max is an interesting one. This is kind of a back and forth that a lot of people will have in Brawl Stars. Does the max speed deal well enough? Can you dodge well enough as a pro player into somebody like B Super, which slows you down? I think it comes down to a lot of mechanics in that spot. Max, somebody that's not as strong recently. I trust in the Raconic Esports mechanics, though, to get the job done. Pam, though, a pretty good way, I think, to cap off their draft here, especially going into somebody like Amber.
I got to agree. I think, excuse me, I think the max, I reiterate everything that you said here. I don't think it really fits into this draft. I don't think it really does much here. Conversation about the sharpshooter for sure, but this is just Raconic leaning on their ability to press buttons, right? Just leaning on their mechanics. On the other hand, Pam isn't going to get outmaxed, right? Neither is Poco. You're really just looking at the B there. So Leok Fox, I think they have a good situation for if they get on the point. The problem is that if is pretty big. Chempo just walks all the way up the right side and winds up dying. And so Raconic are the first ones on the point. This is a moment for Leok, but they're just not stepping forward. Looks like a confidence issue, man.
Yeah, tough situation, right? I mean, Chempo walked forward, died, but they didn't take advantage. They didn't press up onto that hot zone quickly enough, and as a result, capture points not really going their way. It's 45% to 3%. Now they're being held back here. Pam's somebody that deals out good damage, but it's going to take her several shots to get a takedown on a brawler. They fan out, have to really be careful about how you use it. Poco, another one that's not going to be lethal in terms of the damage category, now going to be slowly dwindling away from the flames engulfing him. 75% now for Raconic Esports, or putting these mechanics to perfection.
You know, this, I really want to point this out as Raconic is just doing their job here, taking care of business, Leok Fox. This is the reality, is that having a pro player's name above your brawler does add real stats. Leok Fox had an opportunity to step forward, and they, I guess the polite way is to say it, they showed Raconic too much respect. They were too afraid to go in there. They got the opening, and they simply did not go forward. It can be tough when you're in the shadow of players like this. I really think that's what it came down to. If Leok Fox steps on the point, do they win the set? That's pushing it. But I absolutely think that at the end of the day, Raconic definitely just has a little bit of star power here, no pun intended. And Leok Fox didn't really identify their moment to shine.
I think that's well said. I think in general, those are just kind of those learning curves that we want to see these guys take, that leveling up kind of approach. And now they're being much more aggressive, at least on this right-hand side. Pam not afraid to do the dirty work here. They're going to lose a brawler on the left-hand lane. Max speed being distributed now to Frixie with a good flank there as well, dropping the ego shield. Gets himself some good placement. Will phase shift away from
This is the play.
But this is the opportunity. Time for them to start capturing some points. Let's see what they're made of.
And look, there it is. Leok Fox, they step together forward. Here we are. Now Leok Fox on the point. You love to see it. Frixie gets taken down. Shine shoved out. Chepo trying to make a play on the right-hand side. Now remember what I said. If Leok Fox gets to the point, they should stand here pretty well. Pam can build up a super and drop a healing totem. Dogman has a couple of, or excuse me, Poco has a couple of options. Hat tripping me out here. But just like that, Raconic able to answer. Chepo with the flank really sends Leok Fox just in a tizzy. They don't know what to do when they can't see the max. And ultimately, that's what winds up winning the spot for Raconic.
Now some extra speed going down as well. 20+ percentage point lead. We're gonna have to see Leok Fox step it up here in the final moments. Even getting a game here would be a big deal for some players like this, making their appearance on the broadcast stage. They take down the ego, low HP, relying on the healing station here. All the Raconic brawlers grouped up, now super going down, casting Poco ablaze. Pam having to rely on this healing station again just to stay alive here. Only a few percentage points remaining. Frixie, Chepo, all they have to do is touch down for a few moments.
50% passed for Leok Fox, but 100% hit for Raconic. They take it all, and they're headed to the grand finals. A nice look there for Raconic coming out of the top side. And Shine certainly feeling like that. Just another day at the office for Raconic. 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, as they should do it. Leok Fox, so fun seeing some new names kind of take the field. I like that they finally kind of got their ideas together, able to find themselves above 50% here in this second game on Hot Zone. But ultimately, yeah, Raconic just went to work, welcomed some new players to the bracket, and pushed them down.
Yeah, I mean, again, they met expectations, but a lot of credit to Leok Fox for breaking into this top four. It's a top four for a reason. It is so difficult with so many good players and good teams in North America West just to make it this far. I think they can hold their hats on high. They made it to broadcast day. They got it successfully done in the top 8 stage in the monthly qualifiers. This is a team that, you know, in the future, this is a building block. If we see them again, maybe next month, next year, whatever it is, we'll remember this and say, hey, that was at least showing up once, gaining some experience, and maybe we see a stronger showing from them. I hope they learn from this, stay at it, because we always love seeing these newer teams in Brawl Stars.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what that's kind of what I was getting at when I talked about that last one. They actually were able to get, I think, 59% versus Raconic on that last Hot Zone, and we saw a play work. We saw what their idea was. You know, push forward as a unit, take advantage of the max, and they did that. So some good tape for Leok Fox to kind of take home. Tadier, Ojeda, Gary, and the squad coming through. Welcome to the bracket. Monthly finals is a little cutthroat. Shine, Chepo, Frixie. Chepo is your MVP. The flank max working out. Raconic winning 3 in a row. Nice look so far. But I say so far because Raconic now find themselves in that grand finals, awaiting the winner for the bottom side of the bracket. And at the end of the day, the bottom side of the bracket might be, at least in this caster's opinion, the more difficult side of it. Okay, it's low-hanging fruit. Stamina Luminosity is definitely a marquee matchup, Kenny. Absolutely. And I'm not even going to ask your opinion on it because you're casting it next, and you're going to tell us how it goes. Stamina, LG, semifinal number 2, coming at you after the jump.
Welcome back to what has been an exciting day of Brawl Stars, an exciting month, and I'm very happy to jump into this one alongside one of my favorite co-casters on the planet. I am Kenny, alongside with me, Mr. Ready Set. It's going to be Luminosity Gaming versus STMN. This is going to have huge ramifications for Worlds and LCQ spots coming up ahead.
It's so wild to me that we have the privilege of seeing this in the semifinals, but also I think this could be a death sentence for one of the teams. So it's not so much a privilege as it is a punishment. I think that really what led up to this was Stamina during the qualifiers. They forgot to check in for one of their matches and got a little bit lucky with the quarterfinals matches, not having to go up against Luminosity or another strong team in the region, but now they still have to face them in the semifinals. So this is a really rough matchup for both teams. This could make or break the Worlds run. And we did a bit of the math earlier. I think Stamina has to win this month and they got to win next month if they want to go directly to Worlds, lest they want to go to the LCQ.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to point out. There are two spots. One of them, though, not as great as a world spot. LCQ, something that we've added this year. 16 teams get to compete for a few extra spots for World Finals, but one team from NA West can take it with a direct ticket for World Finals. Right now, cashing that ticket would be Luminosity Gaming
Masters, so they're coming off of a lot of consistent success.
Yeah, consistent's a good way to put it, especially the second half of this year. Luminosity Gaming started out strong, 2-0 against this STMN roster. But STMN have been around for a long time, and it feels like they're a team that has improved with every passing year. Same can be said for Charles and the fellas. I mean, definitely want to point that out. But the highs have been a little bit higher, of course, for STMN. ESL Masters, very successful. We casted them in San Diego at that live event. Very successful. I feel like STMN are the team to beat in this region, despite the 2-2. It's hard to forget what they've done at Masters and what they've done at these in-person events, and of course even online for BSC as well. Again, they have 2 grand finals wins of their own, so this one is going to be huge for deciding how each of these teams are approaching mentally this last month here.
To think about all the preparation that's going directly into this very first matchup. There was no anything leading up to this except for the qualifiers, which are a couple of weeks behind us at this point. A lot of the predictions now going to the side of Stamina, which I can't blame you for, especially since they 3-0'd Luminosity, I believe, in the last month, if it wasn't a 3-1. But I do know without a doubt that it was a fairly quick win for Stamina, and that says a lot considering the dominance that Luminosity had in those last several months leading up to this point.
Yeah, yes, sir. 3-1 last month. Pretty convincing stuff for STMN, especially as good of a Luminosity roster as they have. Not the easiest thing to do. Getting a win against them, tough enough. Getting a 3-1 victory, making it a little more convincing. Something that's going to be tough, too. STMN at the desk. We all 3 selected them. We're riding alongside Chat in this spot. I definitely don't blame people for picking Luminosity Gaming, though. It's a very strong roster, one that I certainly wouldn't want to play against, especially in a semifinals appearance. But one thing, again, that I did not expect, this is the second time now recently I've called it out this broadcast. A Mr. P first overall selection. Again, Mr. P solid. Not surprised to see him. But as a first overall pick ready, it's a little surprising to me.
Same here. I mean, this is one that is, of course, surprising, a little bit jarring, but the more I start to think about it, the more it makes sense. We're looking at Gold Arm Gulch. If you're able to enforce sort of a slow game, one that doesn't go too quickly, then Mr. P's lack of DPS doesn't seem to matter as much, and the spam of those turrets, all those porters constantly flying out, will maybe overpower things. Though STMN does have the advantage of having that last pick, so they might be able to pick something that breaks this. Daryl, now the selection from Luminosity, could be difficult for Stamina to counter. He's a pretty strong brawler, and we've actually seen Luminosity kind of pioneer the use of this brawler, or at least winning with this brawler on Gold Arm Gulch, so we'll see. They've still got it. They got to find something good to accent it as well. No Gus for them to work with. Stamina, I think, with their Gus can get a pretty beefy tank as well to contest the Daryl when he rolls in.
Yeah, this is an opportunity for them to maybe get things right, make sure they get a well-rounded composition, because Daryl here on the 4/5 turn can be a little dangerous. You do get tank counter opportunities for the other side if you pick this brawler earlier, but if you want to get a tank on the field and you don't have that 6th spot, you kind of just got to commit. I think Bo, a very well-rounded brawler. Again, this is something that is going to give them a lot of opportunities between the Bow Mines. They got the Mr. P porters. They got Daryl for the last-second aggression, especially the last-second aggression into somebody that's a little squishier on the Sprout side. So that might be an opportunity that they're going to look for as this progresses. Pam, the 6th selection here. STMN have a very bulky roster. I think if you pair Gus and his super alongside Pam, kind of a scary thing towards an in-game.
Yeah, I think Stamina is sort of playing something that needs to be pushed aggressively in the earlier game. Otherwise, they're going to win in the late game just about every time. Pam has a whole lot of health. She gets that healing. Gus can act as a support brawler with his super, and Sprout can crowd things out of mid with that super in the late game, and is going to have just about 100% uptime thanks to that super, or rather the gadget that gives the super back, restoring it off the ground. So Luminosity might be forced to play a little bit differently than they wanted to, especially with the Mr. P pick, potentially sort of slowing things down. But they're sort of going to commit on the right side. STMN fully committing on this right lane, and Charles trying to come in from the left side, and he actually gets some pretty good shots in here. He'll be able to get that super relatively early on in this game.
Got a little nervous there for Czar, but some good footwork there is going to keep him alive. Patchy forced to roll away now as well. Bobby Sands pursuing this, cut off there as well. So Charles going to be on the second half of this map, while Patchy left all alone up top with more HP. Sprout not necessarily going to be able to get those quick kills. They're going to focus Chino and Charles instead. The Bowmine's bailing them out here for a moment. And now Chino and Charles, a little more breathing room, a super going down on the field too. But as this progresses, I think they've got the health points to kind of deal with these porters pretty well. Sands though needs to be careful. A couple shots being landed there. STMN now clustering together as the storm starts to close in.
Nicely done by Luminosity as they managed to prevent Sands from getting the porter down too early. It is going to fall now, and Charles does have another one to go. Czar just barely alive. Sands also trying to crowd things out. 1-2 kills, and Chino's just looking for the super without feeding too much to the enemy team. He's not able to recoup that towards the end of the round, and it goes the way of Stamina. Not a super in sight for Stamina. Luminosity now rolling up once again, and maybe quite literally as Patchy has his super ready. Charles also has that super ready to throw down. Wants to keep it away from Sand so it's not super vulnerable, but still affords them a bit of pressure with a constant barrage of porters.
They have to be really careful about where they place these porters too. I mean, Sprout can lob shots over a wall, so certainly something to keep in mind. Similar approach to what we saw in round number 1. Sands cutting off the middle of this match. Patchy gonna be left all alone up top, and it's Charles and Chino down low. This time though, little assistance from the porters from beyond. Sands, bottom of the map now as each side looks to get some strong footing. The closer and closer this gets to that storm closing in, the more control of the mid that they're going to want. And right now, that's favoring STMN.
Sands still gradually closing in. Got to restore a little bit of health, and he's also got to keep his distance from Patchy. He can roll a pretty sizable distance. Sands has the super, though. Bobby going to pop it on himself. Czar now coming around the left side with a scrap sucker. Big damage on the Charles, but no takedown just yet. The poison sneaks up on Charles from behind and claims his life. Chino also falls in the poison, and Patchy fights for his life, but to no avail. It's game number 1 going to STMN.
We started to really see why that STMN draft goes so well for them. We see Gus, who can throw down a shield, extra almost 4,000 HP. We saw a moment there as well where Pam started to get really aggressive, had a ghost on the ground to pick up for some extra health points, has a healing station available, already inherently as a brawler, has so much HP. So I think this composition can be quite well, not to mention too, Pam as a final selection does really well into Daryl. Back in the good old days, especially early on 2022, the scrap sucker immediately eliminates shots from that shotgun brawler, so especially at a distance, Czar, a great answer into Daryl. Loving this composition from STMN more and more as we see it played out.
And it looks like he's trying to get in that aggressive position once again to sap away enemy shots. He's going to require the pinching abilities of his teammates. Big roll from Patchy. Bobby forced to pop the super. Gets basically no value off of it. He will be able to get a bit of damage on Patchy, who's largely pinched out. The final shot coming in claims his life. And it's now a 2v2 once again. Sands also is losing some of these walls to the mines placed down by Chino. The porter also still up, going to pose a bit of trouble for Bobby as he's going to be forced to routinely eliminate these, power up that turret as well. Just wasting the shot, sapping away the ammo of Bobby and Sands as Charles and Chino now seek to pinch them. Big damage in though. Bobby still just on his last legs. Charles is going to go for it, but he falls to the effects of the super. And now it's the 1v1 between Sands and Chino, going in Chino's favor. Round 1 goes to Luminosity.
Well played, the Luminosity Gaming. putting one up on the leaderboard here, so a round going in their favor. I think it's going to be very circumstantial. I think Apache can get some nice isolation plays going against somebody like Sands, maybe against Bobby without a super, but if Bobby gets a super again, he's going to almost double the amount of HP he has at the snap of a finger. Czar, somebody that they don't want to necessarily roll in on, so I think for both sides, it's going to come down to a lot of good shots, making sure that they're not in a bad positioning going towards those in-games. I think those bow mines can really help Luminosity maybe step forward, put some pressure on STM to close things out. So supers all around, oh so important, especially when you have one life around.
Stamina is certainly playing this safe. Bobby's hides for his life around this cactus. Overgrowth comes in at the perfect time, and Chino and Bobby got to fight this last one out. The brawl is on, and the shield is up. Could be an easy takedown for Bobby, but Chino responds with arrows to the face, and the response is here. A game victory for Luminosity.
Couple big moments for Chino here. The bow shots prevailing. Well played there. The mines making things a little more hectic as well. I mean, even though Gus had a shield, he's not really known for the amount of damage he does. And being in a close situation where Bo can throw down several arrows with rapid succession, I think Chino might have even been a favorite in that spot. I don't think it's easy for either side. Getting them there was the issue. So as team, and I feel like as a team that they can't put themselves in these one-on-one in-game scenarios. Maybe if it's Pam with a healing station or something, but Gus, Sprout, not gonna have the easiest time in one-on-one situations. Sands still low HP. Daryl getting picked up here though, despite that. Well played, and now STM right back with the lead.
Objective of survival now completely out the window for Luminosity, it looks like, as they're just trying to get these supers while not feeding too much to stamina along the way, especially not Czar. His super is going to be the most difficult to get. Sands practically gets it for free, only has to hit 4 of those shots to get a super, so long as he's running the supercharge gear. Charles and Chino still assuming positions, looking for those damage. Charles has to be close. Chino has his poison coming in soon. Could be a good look for Luminosity, as Charles is the only one left to get a super for an appropriate setup for the next round.
Yeah, Charles is going to be looking for one if he can get it. STM shutting that idea, though, down very quickly. Nicely played. 2 supers now available for the side of STM. Sprout with the wall can cycle it in and out. Bobby with a shield to distribute. Patchy with one of his own. Chino with some mines available. He'll be throwing him down that right-hand side. I don't think that's necessarily to put the pressure on STM. I think that's them intentionally throwing that down to try and open up the map a little bit, give Sprout a little more difficulty, so I don't mind that play.
Neither do I. Hopefully it works out in their favor. So far, so good for both teams. No major plays just yet, but Patchy has a role that he can use. Bobby seems like he was forced to pop that, or might have popped it in a panic, but it's a good look for Patchy. Now doesn't have to fight as strong of a foe should he decide to roll in. Sands also on the right side. A little bit open, but it's just an illusion. His 2 teammates are standing by, waiting for that roll to come in. And really everyone here is waiting for that poison to close in. Chino wants to get a super before that fact, now has it, immediately pops it. And it's just another obstacle for Bobby and Sands to work around. No major plays just yet, but Patchy now has to get in position for the big roll.
Patchy now using that roll, diving in, grabbing a kill. 3v2 situation, but if Sprout lobs these walls up properly, could be in their favor. Bobby popping the shield as well. Chino in a 1v1 interaction. 11 HP gets the job done. Luminosity grabbing themselves around. Next round takes our very first set.
There's just no such thing as a one-sided set between these two. It's always going to get as close as it possibly can. Just one round to decide the entire set. And who has the advantage is a big question to ask. Sands has no gadgets left, which is certainly going to hurt. A lot of walls being broken down too could impact him as well. Big damage on his R so far, but he's easily able to retreat. Bobby has the shield as a response. Once more, probably not too much action before we head into the final few seconds. The only thing really to be worked for is Charles' super. Hedge now closes off Patchy on the top side. Charles and Chino forced to brawl on the bottom. Still no action just yet, likely until we head into the final moments.
Charles throwing to throw down some suitcases to keep the enemies away for now. Spacing the floor a little bit. STM now clustering together. Luminosity grouping up as well. They know this storm is imminent. It will be closing in and it will cause some problems. Patchy now ready to release all the action here. Backs against the storm wall. Shield being given out to Czar. Now Patchy low HP. 1 pickup for STM here. There are the mines though. Bobby gonna get tripped up. 2v2 situation. Roll in from Patchy. The aggressive brawler pays off. It's Luminosity Gaming coming alive here and taking our very first set.
Rockstar performance there from Chino. I mean, the bow clutch at the top side was absolutely massive, handing out those arrows left, right, and center, and dealing some pretty serious damage to Bobby in the final moments at a couple times during that last set. Wonderful play all around, just amazing, stellar stuff from Luminosity, and good stuff from Stamina likewise. You just got to make sure that you come out on top in that final round.
Yeah, it's crazy that that came down to one singular round at the end of the day. You said it best, right? It's only right that these two teams are as close as they are. Every single set is going to be fought over. They're too good of teams. The rivalry has been too strong throughout the year. 2-2 overall in this series. It's as close as it gets. Love seeing this rivalry unfold throughout the year as well. Luminosity Gaming, 3 brawlers on their side who haven't lived in the limelight that SCMN have. They haven't had those Worlds experiences, those big LAN experiences, but they're trying to prove themselves worthy of them. LCQ in Worlds, certainly potential for both of these sides. But for Luminosity Gaming, it might just mean a little more if they can make it there, considering it would be a first.
What a performance, and an appropriate reaction from Charles there too. I mean, what a hard-fought victory between the two. Celebrating the 0 kills, I suppose. No, but still, really playing a huge part in that entire set. What a performance from both sides. I'm looking at Bobby as well with 8 kills. Remember, it's knockout. Those stats are permanent for the round. Those kills don't get handed out very easily. And that's on the losing side as well. Get strapped in for a really close match, folks.
I have no qualm with that. I mean, this is going to be awesome to watch Luminosity Gaming taking advantage of set number 1. It's as close as it can get, and that's what I expect the whole way through. No exception here as we approach Kaboom Canyon. We're going over to Heist, Shelly, Cordelius, a couple brawlers that have entered the band stages all throughout our weekend. Somebody that's shown up very prevalently on both sides. Cordelius on this map in particular, I don't know if it necessarily does it for me as much, just considering how short range he has. So not seeing him banned here makes a little more sense to me. Shelly, though, I make no exceptions for Shelly. It is always Shelly stars until balance changes happen, and for that reason, I definitely relate to the SCMN ban, especially considering they don't have that first overall selection.
I will join you in praying that Shelly gets some kind of adjustment, preferably a nerf, because it is really Shelly stars right now. Ooh, here's the Crow selection from Stamina. Definitely a wise one since this brawler was left open. Seeing Sans with the Crow next to him just doesn't seem right. It's no secret that Sans just absolutely hates this brawler, but I don't think he'll be the one playing it. You never really know. I want to talk more about the first pick, actually. On the side of Luminosity, the Carl is the first selection. Seems like a pretty straightforward brawler to counter, so I think now with the Daryl selection from Stamina, that makes sense. There's some other ways that they can go about it, especially with that last pick.
Daryl's a little risky. Same thing that I said a little bit earlier. When you take Daryl this early on, you are having some inherent risk here, leaving yourself open to being countered, but they do have 1 overall selection left. So I think this is a little bit better of a spot for them. And I think knowing that Luminosity Gaming were willing to pick this brawler up on the 4-5 turn in set number 1, I think they're taking that information and rolling with it. It's clearly a brawler that they probably want. In general, Daryl going to be a great play into Carl. This is a little longer ranged of a map, and Tara, I think clearly a brawler here that's not going to get played too frequently. I think more selected for what we see on the other side with the Daryl. The pets, of course, can pile up some damage fairly quickly, especially on early on ladder. This is a brawler that I feel like I see all the darn time on Heist. But at the pro level, this definitely isn't a normal occurrence, I would say, for Tara.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting. I don't know whether we'll be seeing those shades on the safe, but I can guarantee you she will be a menace in those bushes. And she can pretty routinely farm the tanks and cycle back her super relatively easily. For Stamina now with that Crow also, if they don't get that mid-fight really early on, it's going to be relatively difficult for them to win it back. But once they're there, it will be a lot more easy for them to hold on to it. Crow's such an oppressive brawler to be pushing into, especially if you don't really know his position. Squeak now coming in from Stamina. That's a little bit of vision there, especially if they're going with the, I think, objectively better gadget to use for Squeak, the one that more importantly slows things down and can lock off a lane, but secondarily also gives you vision inside those bushes.
Agreed. I think that's definitely the gadget they end up running. I think there's a little more debate around the star power of choice, especially given the recent balance changes. We've seen a lot of both this weekend, in all honesty. Jesse and Tara, though, for Luminosity Gaming on Kaboom Canyon. Not something I'm necessarily as used to seeing. No real wall break option, though, so I think this turret can do just fine. I think Crow, normally a brawler that I'm looking out for to be very powerful. He can do a good scouting report for your teammates here. Squeak also can gain some vision here as well. Immediate cut off at that left-hand side. I don't know, I'm just excited. I'm just excited already. These aren't brawlers that we normally see on this map. We get to see two great teams pilot them. No complaints here. Let's just see what the mechanics do for them.
And that's the reality of Luminosity versus Stamina. I mean, they are drafting on a level that is beyond a lot of our comprehension, and this will, I think, definitely be played in some film review room after the monthly finals and long after the monthly finals. But we're here now, and so far, Stamina have taken some serious damage on their save. Patchy is going to town. More so, the turret is going to town. It does finally get shut down, but not before taking down a full 31% out of that safe, and another 10% come in to take another decent chunk out of that safe. Czar also on the patrol, might get some damage versus the safe, but more importantly needs to make sure that that mid control remains. Chino getting big damage on the safe. Someone's gonna have to address him. It could be the last bit of damage. Chino still fighting for his life, smacking the pickaxe against the wall, and only 22% remain after he's chewed through most of it.
Gino just has so much health that Squeak by himself can't really get the job done. Crow by himself can't really get the job done. We need to see S-Team crank it up here. They're down 50%. They have an opportunity to deal out some serious damage with somebody like Daryl. Squeak, if he can land a perfect super, can certainly get that done as well. But nonetheless, I think Luminosity equipped for defense here. This is the opportunity they want. But the Tara super, too much to handle. A pull away there, and now Luminosity leading the charge down the left-hand lane.
Czar still hanging on to this mid area. And the big slow comes in. Bobby now with the roll. Full defense on the right side. Even the pull from Charles, and Chino rockets up the right side with the super. It's just going to be a quick snag for Czar, but Charles still finds a moment to push up here. Maybe getting the retake of mid. Still taking a lot of damage from Czar. Could be the final amount to shut him down. Bobby, a little free damage there, and has the roll right over to Patchy. Could get the elim. Now down with the gadget and a cycled super. Big damage on the safe. And Czar still on the patrol on the right side, keeping things safe. Well done for Sands to get the elimination on the left. And full connection of the super onto the safe. That's 9k damage total. And Czar's just going to go for it. 6k, 7k, 10 seconds left. And Stamina got to defend their saves with their lives. Sands taking all the aggro that he can. Now dipping below 5 seconds, but we won't even reach it. Luminosity in the last few seconds get the victory.
Yeah, I'm sure Charles broke a sweat there. I'd be drinking some water of my own, too. Whew, that was a close call. Respect to STMN, they were down 50% and just led the charge, kept pursuing that high safe, get some insane damage done. I mean, Daryl, played by Bobby, you know, had to roll in, distract the enemy, get some damage of his own in there. And I think Bobby doing a good job towards the closing moment. I think the lead was just too much for Luminosity Gaming. All they needed was one good push. So Apache turret going down there, and the rubber ducky can do the rest of the work. We'll see if things change here in game number 2. Great plays from both sides. To kick off game number 2, it's S-Team with a little bit of a better one. Pick up at this left-hand side lane, and an offensive opportunity now for the green and gold.
All right. Big one from Bobby. Patchy taken down. Charles now trying to defend, but Bobby's got so much health. Czar also with the assistance on the right side. And Chino presses in on the left, but only 4% result from all of that effort. And the use of a gadget, too. The greatest for the gadget economy of Luminosity Gaming is they still have yet to take back that mid control. Just trying to circumvent the mid fight entirely, and Patchy and Chino might be able to make it through. Bobby with the response on the left. Patchy just beelining it over to the safe, ignoring any regard for keeping that mid control. Stamina retain the control of those bushes at mid. Luminosity still at a disadvantage.
Big control for STMN. Ball lead as well. Roll in from Bobby, taking some serious shots to the enemy side. Charles does have a super available, though, and the reign of Bobby's terror will be ended there for a short moment. Czar and Sands, though, still alive and well in the mid here. Patchy, Charles, Chino trying to inch their way up, but it's hard to come back when Czar, Sands can cover so much of this left and right-hand lane with their shots, the daggers from Crow, or the squeak shots just circulating around that side. A big jump in. Bobby with a nice gadget. 4,800 being dealt. Nearly perfect there from him. And now the roles are reversed. It's about a 50% lead, this time for STMN.
Ooh, potential opportunity for Luminosity. Get back that mid control and 40 seconds left. Seems like it could be plenty of time. Sans and Bobby have to be wizened up to this reality on the right side. Big damage from Charles in the takedown too. Little slowing action onto Charles. He's going to try and dispel this, blocking off some of the shots. One connection on a Charles. It's going to be it. He needs to rotate over to the left side, or at least just get over to where Bobby is. And Chino on the right side seeks cover. Now, 20 seconds remain. Big roll in from Bobby on the left. Could be a takedown, but not quite yet. Chino still on the patrol, looking for an angle to get in on this save. And Patchy throws down the turret. Sans has to defend. Any defense now done on Luminosity's side. The clock's ticking down, and so is the percentage. Just 2% left, and Luminosity steal it right out from ST Men's feet. The rug pull is here, and the set victory is 2.
That's a big moment for this match. When the roles were reversed, Luminosity got the job done. And Charles, you can see it in his eyes. That man is cooking right now. He is pumped up. 2-0 lead against STMN is a huge deal. This is a team that I will never count out. They have made reverse sweeps happen. They've made miracle runs happen. But it's gotta feel good if you're Luminosity here, knowing that you just need one more set over STMN.
Hey, I mean, I wouldn't really sweat it if they were on their side. However, they've gotten it down to 4.4k health. And what a lead statement ahead in game number 2 as well, for Luminosity. They got that mid victory back. Once Charles was in position on the Tara, it was simply game over. He had the super, he was in mid. There was no way Bobby was going to get past him without getting taken down and pretty much just getting churned up and turned into yet another super for the team.
You can see it, Charles there. He said, let's go. Big claps going down. Love to see the excitement. I mean, these guys have played this game forever, and they still have the same love, the same passion, the same feeling whenever they get a nice victory there, especially in that fashion. 8-8-6 for the left-hand side. However, my man Sans, 13 kills. Way to pile them on.
That is the Squeak grind set, my friend. 13 kills. Get used to the new meta here. He's just such a good brawler right now, but it's not quite enough to get you the victory because, after all, safe damage is the objective here. But Bobby and Zara really putting in the work, too. I mean, you saw those rolls from Bobby, and you saw Zara getting the not too often seen crow jump up and down on top of that safe, locking in 7k damage each time he was able to accomplish that. Could see the crow make a reappearance here on Hard Rock Mine. I wouldn't count it out, but it is kind of unlikely. Much different game. Get to slow down the pace now.
Very interesting map to go for set number 3. Not a situation that I expecting, and I'm sure most of the casting desk, not going to speak for you fellas, but weren't expecting either. 2-0 lead for Luminosity. STMN have looked fierce in this second half of the season. Bans coming through. First overall selection going to be 8-bit. Can't talk about it enough. Love this brawler on this map. Colette, an opportunity to try and counter out finally have that opportunity for international competition to not only show in A what you have got, but what the world that you will have in store.
That was our goal. We wrote that. I wrote that down in my notes at the beginning of the year. I wanted to make LCQ or Worlds, and I'm just so happy we finally did it. Shout out to my teammates. And that's
well, there are a lot of us that are super happy for y'all too. I'm not sure if you could see it, but we had a moment there on camera where Charles just looked like he was full of joy. I mean, hands behind his head, just taking it all in. So congratulations for that once again. Any shout outs you want to give before I let you go?
I want to shout out Drage. He was in our voice chat today, helping us out. Big dog right there. Love him. And shout out Toast because he wanted me to shout him out.
Well played. Congratulations once again. Good luck. Obviously, LCQ, y'all got that on wraps. But of course, a world final spot opportunity for y'all next month as well. Good talking to you, Patchy, as always.
See you, Kenny.
All right. Awesome stuff coming in from Patchy there, fellas. Good to have you back. A little heartfelt, man. And it's awesome seeing these guys grind this game for a long time. They finally find it. All this hard work, 4 to 6 hours a day. This man's working a full-time job for Brawl Stars, and it's more than paid off. I'm really excited for them. I'm sure many people at home are. Big organization signing this year, several big monthly wins. Awesome to see this side of the esport.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think hearing that that's a question that I wanted to ask for a long time now. You know, Ready, Set, and I, and you too, Kenny, but Ready and I have really kind of driven the point home that LG are just a step ahead of everyone when it comes to the draft. And, you know, I make no bones about being around different esports as well as Brawl, and this is the level that you see in professional games. Like 6 hours after the match, they're not logged in like they're in school, but you're just sitting in Discord, sitting in VC, and just chatting about it, talking about the game. That's the level of dedication. Yes, 6 hours. It's probably real, dude. Every single day. Maybe you're farming some impressions there, but that's the level of dedication that we see. That level. Ooh, you love to see it. Brawl leveling up for sure. 3-0 in the finals here, Ready, Set. Big plays for Luminosity Gaming. I said it, they leveled up, and I think they leveled up real hard. Fistful of rare candies.
Just massive, yeah, rare candies for sure. Luminosity Gaming, I mean, once again, to reiterate, what a journey it has been this year. And to now be at the point where big news as well, as we're doing the calculations on the production end. If they make top 8 next month, they're locked for Worlds. That's the World final spot, not just LCQ. This is incredible. This team has come so far. And the way also that Patchy talks about the game, where, yeah, they play like the full-time job kind of hours on this game, even sometimes on the Sabbath. So well done for them. And I imagine he also mentioned just so much work put in to get to this #1 spot where they're locked in with STMN in second place. Raconic also trailing behind, not likely going to make that spot, but they can still give their best shot.
Shout out to Leo Fox as well for showing up here today and earning some points. You know, speaking of shout outs, why shout out Drage? Drage gets a shout out before me? I'm heated. I'm heated. It's not, how dare we talk about community? Jokes aside, always fun to see everybody region agnostic, just being friends. As far as the world's finals race is concerned, this is what it looks like at the moment. Chazmac and Luminosity repping North America if it all ended here today. Obviously, there's some more Brawl, but it's not just Tribe and Stamina the way we're used to seeing. LG and CMG making some noise. Kenny, you love to see it.
Love to see it, and a couple other NA teams that I expect to be in full force again next month. Tribe and STMN, 2 teams that historically in Brawl Stars, and especially including this year, things like ESL Masters, showcase what they are made of at an international stage. Whether they're going through LCQ or Worlds, if they get that opportunity, I believe in them a lot as well. But Luminosity Gaming and Chasmic Gaming, after the success they had in the BSC, and now looking at teams like Tribe and STMN, both top 4, they've beaten those teams more recently. I think it just makes the globe so much more competitive. Big shout out to Foot, who have escalated here as well. FA Mini Pegas with a little bit of a name swap, but another win here today. Currently on the leaderboard for SA East. We got a whole nother month, man. There's a lot to be decided.
And of course, still the last chance qualifier still coming down to the wire. Ready, Set. This is where we see Tribe and Stamina, but perhaps not where them and their fans might have expected to be.
Yeah, well, that's just called competition. I mean, sports happened. Tribe Gaming and STMN are getting challenged for their #1 spot after quite some time, but that's just how these kind of things go. In the other regions, though, we see Clash leave no witness, and Raconic Esports SA already occupying some LCQ spots. Humble Navi, ANR, and SK Gaming in those LCQ spots from EMEA. Reject a feeling from East Asia, Team Flash, Rising Sun, SEA, Revenant Esports, and Marcos Gaming also looking to lock in those LCQ spots, and some of them already being locked in for LCQ in the respective regions.
Lot of fun across the world as we take a look at the BSC. This, of course, be in North America, but just one little corner of it. We do Southeast Asia, we do EMEA, we have a whole bunch of regions. And Kenny, you've been on broadcast for the entire day so far. What can you say about Brawl in the month of July?
I love this game so much, man. I mean, every time we come up here and give a cast, There's just this sense of pride, this sense of passion that the game's only gotten better every year. The competition levels are so high, and I'm sure alongside you two, we've been fans of this game for so long. We get the opportunity to cast it every month, but as a fan at heart, it's so awesome to see all these teams put it on such strong performances. EMEA this weekend was insane. Watching y'all on APAC, SA a little earlier, NA today. It's as good as it gets, man. 2023 gotta be my favorite year of Brawl Stars so far, and it's still yet to end. We got one more month of full-packed action coming up.
Yeah, I think that watching the teams jockey for position, seeing a changing of the guard question mark here, certainly a big deal already.
Certainly so. I mean, and it's absolutely well-deserved. I'll bring y'all's attention to something that Patchy said. He said, we didn't do how we wanted to last month, so we prepared better, right? If they can't outplay you, they will outwork you, and then they'll outplay you the next month. That, I think, is a real big takeaway for all of these teams in this competition. They work so hard to get to this stage, but it's not over quite yet. We still got more Brawl Stars.
Well, we don't have more Brawl Stars for the month of July. You do at home, you can still keep on brawling. But as far as us, that's done with the commentary. We're going to go ahead and log in. August, we still have one more month of monthly finals. The 12th and the 13th are the dates to put on your calendar. It's been a month, Brawl Nation, but we'll see you on the other side. Thanks for watching. Peace, and much love to you. Gets the kill, dies after the fact, thanks to Nita. Chazmac still on 9 gems.
Now going for the dive, going for gold, and gets the kill as well. Going to disrupt things here, and all of a sudden it's Tribe Gaming. The shield available to RBM sliding through as well. Committed to offense though. Zeus forced to defend. Luffy lobbing up a shot down low. Triple stun going down as well. Shield up for him too. He's rushing to the other side. Fade can't move a muscle. Range of Luffy too strong. 1-1 overall. One round to decide it all.
That might be a goal going the other way now. Jason.
Shots going down, 2v2 situation. RBM, big blast going down, low HP for Gene. The storm wall, shield being given out to Czar. Now Patchy low HP, one pickup for STMN here. There are the mines though. Bobby gonna get tripped up.
Gets taken down by Shine. The snipe around the left side from Charles with the super.